Hi everyone, Tony from Hack the Movies here, and Dune Part 2 is out.
Yay!
Is it the greatest thing ever? Does it do the book justice? Let's find out on this episode of Hack the Movies. Hello, Joe from Movie Dumpster.
Hello, Tony from Hack the Movies.
Hey, guys.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Hi, guys.
Oh, hey.
Oh, right, Crystal's there.
Crystal's
Hi,
here, too.
Crystal.
Well, you have to sing too. Go ahead.
Hey.
No, come on.
I don't know.
Hey, it's Crystal. Sorry.
Hey.
If you think that-
I don't know.
we
Do
were
I do
trying
like
to-
a
Crystal,
callback?
Crystal,
Is
you
that how
could.
we do it?
You could.
I'm really sorry, but I just want to let you know it's not as mean as the intro I did for the Rocky episode. Did
What'd
you
you
watch
do?
it?
No.
It was Trisha's return episode, but I was more excited that Frank was back because
Oh,
it had been
you
a few
did
months.
tell me about this. I had to
The
go.
beginning
And
of that episode is 2 minutes of Trisha just hearing me gloat about Frank before I even acknowledge her.
I'm gonna go back and
isn't
watch
he
it just
wonderful?
for that.
He's such a dreamboat, Frank, isn't he?
He's so nice.
Get him in that Robin costume. Woo woo.
Dune Part 2.
Yes.
It's out now. We did a Dune episode a while back where we covered all the film adaptations.
I went back and I watched that one
Yeah.
just because I had such a good time with you
That
guys
was a
doing
good
it.
one.
And we filmed some pretty funny shit for that. And you guys reposted it?
Yeah.
I was at the bar showing everyone the ending with the sandworm.
Yeah.
Like, look how good this
We're
is.
doing it.
Oh my god.
And the posters we did and shit.
The
that
posters
that was fun.
amazing.
I
What you
can't.
did.
I
love
opted
them.
It was
not.
fun.
Yeah, those were good. I
Thank you.
opted not to do the suit today.
Why?
Yeah.
You're losing so much weight and you're doing
I am
so
actually. You know what's
great
funny?
at the
So,
gym.
by the way, thanks for all the positive comments. So, since I'm losing weight but building muscle, I'm having trouble keeping track. So now I've done two things.
You were afraid of breaking out of the suit.
Well, one, I'm measuring that
Hulking
suit.
out.
Strong.
I don't want to spoil
Fucking
why.
Beast Raban over there.
I don't want to spoil why, but I've repurposed that suit into a different costume for an upcoming episode. But now I've been tracking my progress by measuring my body and
what you're supposed
seeing
to do.
how easy it is to get into that skin tight suit.
Interesting.
It's getting
Yeah.
easier to get into the skin tight suit.
Yes.
I put it on the other day. I'm like, this was way easier than 2 weeks ago. Still pretty tough. I think I pulled a muscle in my shoulder, but just the one.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear.
Yes.
So every other week you're going to be putting it on. We're seeing the track. Gotcha.
Once
Gotcha.
you see him in an episode with it on, he's met his goal.
Yeah.
And he's
As soon
like,
as he
hey,
can zipper.
Well, I have a few months, so we'll see. We'll see. I'm definitely not going to be where I want to be, but we'll see.
Gotcha. That's your summer suit. Got it.
But yes, Dune Part 2 is out by Denis Villeneuve. It is
Yeah.
Denny. I
why do
swear
you
it's
keep calling
Denny.
him Denny?
That is what
Do you know
everyone
this
is-
fucking guy? No, I'm just busting.
That is what
That's his best
everyone
friend.
is calling him. I think because wherever he's from, Dennis is Denny over there.
Denny. Why you do this to me, Denny?
How you do this to me, Dan?
Is
yeah.
it Villa? Is it Villeneuve? Villeneuve?
I forgot to look up I was so happy I learned the first name. Didn't even bother with the second
Oh, there
one.
you go. Just Google Translate,
Yeah.
right? Or pronunciation.
The second movie's out now. It is doing really well. I didn't realize. I mean, I got real into the last movie. I've watched it actually a bunch since that episode.
Yeah.
Because when I did the episode, I didn't realize it was a part one because they left it off all the advertising.
I think we said that during that episode, and I was like, wait,
Yeah, I
excuse
remember
me?
turning that on, and I went part one, and I went, "You sons of bitches!" I'm like, "Fuck! I already planned the episode. I can't not. I'm not gonna wait a few more years."
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess a lot of people really like the first one because it is doing super well. The first one came out during COVID, right? Like during lockdown. It was 2021.
I
Was it
can't
2020?
remember. I don't know if I saw it in theaters or not.
I definitely didn't see it. I
No,
didn't get
I
it
watched-
till like
I thought it was it 2021 or 2022?
I think it was 2021.
I think I watched it on streaming, though.
I think it was supposed to come out in 2020 and then got delayed to 2021.
Much like
we
the
reviewed
Salem's-
it in 2022.
That's where I'm going
Yeah,
from.
much
I knew
like the
we
Salem's Lot
we reviewed
remake.
it.
Yeah, the Salem's Lot remake. Does it finally have
It's
a release?
finally coming to HBO Max. Just dumped to streaming.
Oh,
We'll be covering
shit.
it.
Speaking of dumped to streaming, tune into the live wrap up this month where I talk about Roadhouse. I refuse to give it its own episode. You're getting a Dune episode, and you're getting a god-awful Ghostbusters sequel episode,
we have
I'm
to
not
do
giving
that.
you a Roadhouse episode. I refuse to dedicate a full episode to Roadhouse, the
Don't
remake.
worry,
Did you
we'll
see
spend
it?
most of the wrap
What?
up.
Did
on
you see it already?
It's not out yet.
Oh, well, it's playing at South by Southwest, or played at South by depending on.
Joe,
what
I
it's
haven't
at.
even watched the trailer. That's how angry I am.
I heard there was a CGI fist fight, and I went, "Excuse you?" I said, "Why?"
How do you? What's even the point of a CGI fist fight?
I can't confirm. That's just what I heard. I was looking
I
forward
take-
to
I
it because
take
I like
everything-
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, I take everything you say is truth. It's
You
gospel.
shouldn't. You
Everything you,
shouldn't.
say
I
is
am not
gospel.
Mawa'Deeb of movies. Okay.
you need the water
We
of
gotta come
life.
up
You
with
have
a
to
name.
predict.
I'm gonna be poisoned, die, come back to life. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that just ruined my night.
CGI
let's-
fight? Fist fight?
I don't even know how the
How?
fuck you
So-
do that.
Like, is it like this? Like,
I don't know. Maybe it's two green screens hitting each other. I don't know.
I don't know. So anyway, yeah, I guess because I missed the initial wave of the 2021 Dune. There was a lot of stuff going on.
Sure.
So I didn't realize how much of a fan base it had brought up. And then I saw they were doing the sequel, which I was happy because
Tony, it's one of the biggest sci-fi
Yeah.
novels of all time.
I know, but it's like it doesn't have the best track record. Like the TV series is almost forgotten about
Which
because they
is-
never
well, yeah,
re-release
because it was on the Sci-Fi Network. Half the time when it's those types of
Yeah.
hardcore, in-depth,
Yeah.
so much detail, fucking 2 something
Well-
hour long or whatever. I tried going back to rewatch it, and I was like, oh no, I can't do this.
We were just talking about this before we jumped on, and that one's very much the political
It
thriller.
is,
Yeah.
yes.
You know?
Which I like it. I
think it's
rewatched a bunch of
It's
them.
good. And then you
Yeah.
have the original movie, which is lots of fun, but so much is missed.
Yeah.
And I really do like the first one. I think the first one is a great introductory to people that want to get into the Dune because
Yeah.
it's so captivating.
Yeah.
I was telling Tony before, like Lynch's is very much like action, sci-fi, adventure, noir.
So so silly.
And then like the TV series is like the political thriller,
Yes.
and then like Denny's
Yeah.
Grand Slam. No, Denny. Dennis's movie or whatever the fuck his name is. His movies are more like a romantic epic.
Well,
sort
the
of.
second one is. There
I
wasn't a
know.
lot of romance in the first one.
No, but it was.
wasn't.
But the first one is all set up that we've
Yeah.
already seen.
That's all
You know
it
what
is. I mean, you need the
Yeah.
first one. There's no way you would
Yeah.
be able to do what we saw in the second one if you didn't have the first. The first
Yeah.
was as great as the first was. It truly was just a setup. That's
Yeah.
all it was.
I feel like I could cut this into one movie, the first and second thing.
Probably could. So I know there are deleted scenes.
Not that I would want to, but I feel
Yeah.
like if you really wanted to do that, I feel like you could.
I
You
would
could,
like to
but-
see an extended version, but
Yeah.
apparently he's not doing a director's cut because he shot some of the stuff that is missing.
Why? Why not just?
Is it
don't
because it's
know.
already too long? Is that what he's
Maybe.
worried about?
I understand
Because we got to wait
there-
to triple dip on the fucking 4K or 8K DVD or Blu-ray.
That's the thing. Maybe like 5-6 years
Yeah,
from
yeah,
now.
yeah.
I'll put
That
it
would be
out.
great.
yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of buzz around this one.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
were like getting really pumped for it. They want to see where the story goes because the first one does set up some stuff that we wanted to see later on. Like Zendaya's not barely in the first one. We
Yeah,
see visions of
sure.
her. She shows
Yeah.
up at the end. Javier Bardem's Stilgar. He's only in a few scenes of the first one. He has more to do at the end. It's like, all right, let's see what that guy does in the next movie. Where's this going to go? We know that the Baron has a second cousin. They
Yeah.
left him out, or a second nephew. They left him out of the first movie.
It's
Yeah.
more
So there was
setting
a
up
lot
the,
I really wanted to see.
Yeah, but it's setting up the lore is
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
Yeah, but so the big thing with two that they didn't do with one, I felt was like a big misstep, was the Christopher Walken Florence Pugh thing.
Yeah,
Yes,
should have been in the
I
first movie.
wish that was. I
Yeah, it's
agree.
weird.
110% on that one.
Because like we're
It was
just getting the
added.
Emperor now. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's bizarre. I mean, like I said, in the book, like the Emperor really doesn't participate in the story till the very end. Both previous movies added extra scenes for the Emperor and Irulan.
Yes.
Because they were like, they should probably be earlier in the thing.
only because like we talked about this on the Rings episodes, where like, fine, that's fine for a book, but we're
Yeah.
doing a movie. You're not supposed to have to
Yeah.
read the book to know what the fuck's going
Yeah.
on. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Because how they get around it in the book is every chapter opens up with an excerpt of
Yeah.
one of Princess Irulan's books.
Yeah.
So she writes like so many books, and that's how you learn about her. Kind of.
Gotcha.
Kind of hard to do that in the movie.
No, sure.
Yeah. So they should have maybe put it in earlier,
Yeah.
but
At least one scene or something.
I feel
At
like they
least
just
give a
wanted to
hint
do
of it.
like the big moments from the first half of the book, and then they're like, we'll get to the rest of that later. But no, they've gotten to it now. We went out the
did.
weekend it came out.
We
I brought the
did.
Dune 2 popcorn bucket. You didn't
got-
bring your popcorn
I
bucket?
didn't. It's a little tuckered out, if you know what I'm saying.
The amount of people who think I fucked this popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
See, you just saying it just validified it.
Okay, so when we went, right, he goes, I have really bad news. The Doom popcorn buckets are sold out. And I
They
was like,
are. They sold out fast.
Okay,
Did they?
fine. Because I also don't know where the fuck I would put that, to be honest. Like, I have no space in my apartment for
They
that.
had other stuff. They had a water bottle that looked like a Fremen thing.
Oh,
at
really?
AMC.
Why didn't you show me
I
that
sent you
shit?
a picture.
Oh,
You did?
I did.
I don't believe you.
I missed that. I went
literally
looking
sent-
for the Ghostbuster stuff, and I found that. I was like, oh, perfect. So I brought
I got
that
this
home.
Valentine's Day when I saw Madam Web.
Yes, you did.
That was my Valentine's Day.
No.
I bought this.
So,
And then I
yeah.
hung out with Lauren at the bar. With
Again,
the Dune
again,
popcorn bucket.
you're showing your hand again, Tone. Valentine's Day with the Dune bucket.
Yeah. He made me put my hand inside it, and I'm so happy I didn't get it.
Fear's
That
the mind killer, by the way. So,
it's a reminder. But like,
Did you-
it's not.
did it feel like your
wasn't
hand was
fear.
on fire when it was in
not
there?
Fear. I was like, I will go in. I'm going in strong. I'm not scared of this. I went in. I felt it, and I was like, oh, I don't like this feeling.
went
Yeah.
real deep in there.
I went deep, and then pulling it out, I was like,
One of my
this
favorite-
rubber the sensory, like over. I was like, no.
One of my favorite things about like the press tour for this film is the actors reacting to it because they didn't know it existed, and they're like, "What is this?" Like Josh Brolin was like, "I'm not putting my fucking hand in
Dave
that thing."
Bautista's
But it
like, let me
looks
see that. And he's like fisting it.
This did so much marketing for the movie.
Yeah,
It did.
Because then people were like,
It is cool, though.
people were like, "Did I not see Dune? I should probably see it."
There's like an SNL skit of it too.
Yeah,
Did you
I
see
saw that.
I was like, okay. That's
I
actually
think what
funny.
actually helped with the second one, not too long ago, they put the first one on Netflix, which is like the biggest streaming service. So I feel like a lot of people were catching up and
Sure.
watching it. And they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh fuck, we gotta go see the second one now." We had a good time. We saw it in IMAX. Did you get
We
to see it in
did.
IMAX?
No, I didn't.
It
I saw it
was-
in standard.
Oof,
Cool.
yes. We saw
Which
it
is
in
not
IMAX.
usually something I do, but
Yeah, it was loud. Here's something you're gonna learn about this movie. Hans Zimmer. I love Hans Zimmer's music.
It's so good.
You know, he did great music on when we worked together on The Dark Knight Rises. Which, by the way, I'm glad my buddies Chris Nolan and Cillian Murphy won
Yeah.
Oscars. I didn't watch the Oscars. I assume they shouted me out.
yeah.
But
They're like, we
Hans
couldn't
Zimmer,
have did this without Tony.
yeah,
From
Hans Zimmer. I
Harkonnen.
guess people really liked the Gum Jabbar music from the first one with the chanting. So anytime anything happens in Dune Part 2, the soundtrack just goes, ah! like, toward the end, it was, because we saw it in IMAX with the super spin. I was like, it was getting kind of annoying toward the end. I'm like, all right.
I
There's
didn't notice it, to be honest.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
I was
and
noticing.
I get very sensory overload, especially when it comes
Yeah.
to like loud movies.
It was just.
I didn't see
I
it.
love Hans Zimmer. I feel like he just went a little too hard. If I was there, like, let's reel it back just 10%. Like, he's walking, and there's that badass shot with the worm, and it
Yeah.
looked awesome, but I'm just like, Hans, shut the fuck up for 5 seconds.
It's funny you say that because I thought I like really liked the soundtrack.
No, I
Yeah.
did too. It was just like, every other scene would be just another, I'm like, oh, God.
I think it was more in your head because I didn't get that. I know you didn't see it in IMAX,
No,
but
but it was still like the sound system was still good, but it wasn't IMAX.
Yeah. So the story picks up right from after he kills Jameis.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Afterwards. And they're heading to the Siege. They find all the Fremen in the northern region. We learn more about the Fremen there. I like that they do the whole thing with Jameis, like sucking his water out.
I thought that was
Yes.
great that,
That
they
was really
showed it,
great.
and like it's very much like going into the Fremen and their religion and stuff, which
Yeah.
I don't think either iteration before this had done it so in depth.
No, yeah, but they mention it, yeah.
No, but I mean, like,
well, the
showing-
first,
Yeah.
the first
it
one,
and
the
things.
Lynch movie treats it as if it is real. They get rid of the whole like that the Bene Gesserit planted it.
Right.
The TV series does, but yeah, but this one they really show like how malicious it is. Like even
yes.
I didn't know you were gonna go right there so quick, but
yeah,
okay.
no, yeah. Well, I mean, because it kind of happens early on.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize like all of a sudden Lady Jessica's this nefarious figurehead, and I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Is
Yeah.
this what the book is like?
You kind of,
Yeah.
'cause, like
She was like,
basically-
shut the fuck up, just tell him you're
So
the
the whole
Messiah
thing-
so we can go kill your uncle or grandfather.
So the whole thing is like in the first book, like Duke Leto, the Oscar
Yeah.
Isaac. I know in the first movie it's kind of like we really need these Fremen to stop the Harkonnen and the Sardaukar, because the whole thing is like the Sardaukar soldiers are trained on this horrible world, and it's like, well, the Fremen also live in a nightmare world. They're the only ones who can beat them. But the movies try to treat it like they're actually gonna like use them to stop some uprising, but the book they're like, nah, we fucking need them to get rid of these guys. They're kind of our best soldiers.
They killed my dad. We need to eliminate the Harkonnen or the Harkonnen.
That's what I was just gonna ask. Yeah. I was like waiting for I was like, wait, guy. I wanted to pause it for a second and be like, are we calling it Harkonnen or Harkin? Because like in this movie they call it Harkin, but I know we're used to say like Harkonnen from the other movies.
It's Harkonnen or Harkonnen.
It's tomato, literally.
Okay, so as we're saying
it's
either
like
one
Dennis
this entire
and Denny,
episode.
either word.
You say Harkonnen, I say Harkonnen. Harkonnen.
So
See, I got it. The song, the
There you
singing,
go.
we got it.
So they changed that. They're like, hey, let's make it like they really want to help the Fremen. Because, I mean, in the book, they were just like, let's not treat the Fremen like shit. We kind of need them.
Yeah.
But like, this one's like, hey, babe. Everything's cool, you know. I just want to help you and your people.
Yeah.
He is so smooth.
Willy Wonka could go fuck himself. I mean, I think he's fine.
I'm actually starting to really like that actor. I need to see more of his stuff.
He's fine.
I want to check.
He was fine. I didn't like.
I liked him better in the first one, to be perfectly honest.
did
Well,
too,
I mean, he
but
is supposed to be an asshole in this one. So.
He is. I mean, we're gonna get to it, but like his arch.
No,
I know.
that is not a tomato.
He's the Archduke.
There we go. So now I'm gonna say it. The arc of his character arc and stuff like that. We're gonna eventually get to it, but I wasn't so happy with him at the end.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But they ended it in like a weird way that's different than how it usually ends.
I want to talk about that in a
because it has to do with the next installment.
But this first beginning of his character, I didn't hate him because this is where he's finally getting his foot in. He's getting his footing. Understanding like how to take control of the situation while still learning what he needs to do.
And he's got a struggle where he like doesn't want to manipulate them. He doesn't want to do the Messiah at first.
Does he?
At first he
he doesn't.
At first he really wants to be like part of them.
It's never it wasn't clear for me.
Well, I'd very much like to be equal to you.
Maybe I'll show you the way.
For me it was.
Like I felt like he was like just laying the groundwork because he had this plan the whole time.
Really? So you think he was manipulating?
No. Lady Jessica was laying the groundwork.
No, I know,
shit.
and the baby, but like, did he? He's just got such a face turn right in the middle. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the way I was seeing it, he really did want to be with. I mean, his whole life just got ruined. He does want revenge at some point.
Yeah.
But it seems like he really wants to live with the Fremen, and they tweaked it a little bit where like not all the Fremen are in on the Messiah thing.
I love that.
Down. Yeah. I didn't mind that change
because it shows so much about religion.
They made some changes for a modern audience, and I know that scares a lot of people on YouTube. Sometimes it is annoying. I'll agree. Sometimes it's annoying. It didn't bother me here. They cut out the part where they were like, wow, Paul, you killed Jameis. I mean, that's a shame. Anyway, you have his wife and kid now. They cut that part out because I don't think that would fly. No. Although the way the movie ends, I was not expecting them to go old school with that ending.
Yeah.
I'm happy they did it, but we'll get there.
It's way more nuanced though. Yeah. And that's what I meant like before about my romantic epic comment. Like it's more nuanced towards the romantic entanglement of him and Zendaya and how that affects everything. And again, the political aspects of like being religious and not being religious and things like that.
There's just so many different points in this movie. It's all over the place. Yeah. But I was able to still follow it.
Yeah.
No, sure, yeah.
The romance in it, I actually really love the romance because it's not hard-hitting romance. It's a part of the movie. It's part of their journey.
Yeah,
and there's such a conflict too of like, he's like, I will love you for as long as I breathe. But she's like, I love you the way you are. If you're going to turn into this other thing, then you're going to be an asshole and I'm not going to love you as much.
Yeah, because she's like against the Messiah thing, and he knows it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like he knows it's planted by like the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah, and then she's like, you're gonna fuck over me and my people, and I'm here I'm here for my people. My people are my people. I'm here till the end. Ride or die. Ride or die for my people.
It's interesting what they honed in on in this one. And like again, like the scene where he's like, well, Duke Leto was a pussy, so I'm not gonna be like my dad or whatever. And then it's like, oh shit, he's just gonna use all these people.
However,
he goes into honoring his dad and being like his dad at the freaking end. Like he hides his ring on purpose.
Yeah.
And that is a little bit manipulating of like, he has it with him, but
It ain't about revenge. What are you talking
I know
about?
you can see it two different ways of
Yeah.
like I want them to respect me, so I'm gonna hide who I truly am. So
I mean, they
can
know who he
do
is,
it.
but he's not flaunting it.
He's not flaunting it.
like
wants-
Stilgar
but-
knows who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to everyone else, he's still trying to get everyone else's respect.
Yeah.
Because there is such a divide on him.
And he
you
wants
know?
to be a part of their culture and their community
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and be seen as one of them.
Speaking of Stilgar, he's the best part of
I
this movie.
Oh, Javier
love
Bardem
him.
is
Loved
amazing
him
in this.
Like
yeah.
he didn't get enough to do in the previous film.
Yeah.
But for this, I'm just like, oh, but this is my favorite version of the character so far.
also got,
I'm
like,
having such a good time with him.
One-liners.
Yeah, he's got comedic relief, kind of.
Yeah, I wasn't
gosh.
expecting
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
mean, that was
Love
really
him.
funny.
Yeah.
Love
Because like
him.
Gurney was kind of funny, the Josh Brolin character
Yeah.
in the last one, but he's like absent for a lot of this film.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that makes sense the
Sure.
way the story goes. That he should be absent for this part. But no, yeah, Bardem was so good as Stilgar,
Yeah.
and I love that he's like, he's not sure at first, but when he,
Ooh,
sorry, oh god,
it's getting exciting.
We've got worm sign.
when he finally believes, he goes hardcore into it. He's like, this is the what is it? Il Asan Gaib or whatever.
Yes.
That, we'll
There's
go
a
with
bunch
that.
of memes
Yes.
about it. Hold on.
Isul.
Hold on. Because there was a meme that
Is that from the book too? Because he's the Kwisatz Haderach.
Kwisatz Haderach is what the Bene
Bene
Gesserit
Gesserit
call
call
it.
him.
The Fremen, they planted the Messiah idea. And they're like, one day there will be the Muad'Dib, who is
Well,
the Isalan Gali. Hold on.
well,
let me
he
find
chooses
them.
the name Muad'Dib.
Right,
which is the mouse.
Mahdi is the other one.
Oh.
I have the terminology
Mahdi.
of the Imperium. We could go
Oh,
through.
that's
There
right.
you go.
You do.
Oh, that's right. It came with the DVD, right?
Aren't some of
Lisan-
the words they use actually Arabic? Is that true?
They mixed a bunch of words together.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I
To
thought.
create the
yeah.
language. Yeah.
By the way, it's Lisan al-Gaib. Lisan al-Gaib.
Gotcha.
And
I
I'm
can't
looking
even
at a
talk
meme
English,
right
I'm not gonna
now
try.
from Dune Siege posting, and it's do not be offended, Usul. My cat, he doesn't like anyone. Then it's a cat petting a guy.
I love that.
And it's Stilgar Cohen, Lisan al-Gaib. I love it. So he's 100% in on it. And that's kind of like Paul's story there. It's like he wants to get in with the Fremen, be their equal. What you call it, Stilgar is trying to get the Fremen to believe. Shani is like, he might not be it, but I'm kind of into him. And meanwhile,
He's hot, but he's
meanwhile-
supposed to be a Fremen guy.
Yeah, meanwhile, Lady Jessica's like, I need all of these people
Son of a
to
bitch.
go
Let's
to war
go.
to kill that fat fucker. I need all of them to murder that fat
Like dad.
Yes.
She doesn't know that yet. So yes, we do get to see. I love that Christopher Walken was the Emperor.
Oh yeah.
How did that even? How was that decided? Does anyone
you know why?
know?
Because he's an older guy. He's very respectable, and you could shoot all his scenes in a week. So if he dies, it won't be an issue.
Oh my gosh!
That's
Long
whenever I
live
see like
Christopher
a really,
Walken.
whenever I see a really old person in the movie now that doesn't have a lot of screen time, like
He like that's a glorified cameo. What I was
Yeah.
more confused about again was Florence Pugh's character.
Yeah.
I feel like she should have been at least in the first one, and you could have saved Christopher Walken for the second.
Yeah.
At least there's like a tenuous connection.
Florence Pugh, they were kind of doing what the TV series did, where she's like,
She shows up at
She-
the party and shit. Remember?
yeah, but yeah, in the
they talk to each other a lot.
in,
her and
in the
Paul.
book, yeah, in the TV series. But they were kind of doing that where she's like, I know my father's conflicted and he kind of did a bad thing and I wish he didn't do that, but I'm being pulled in different directions.
I mean, she has. I do a lot of her parts in this movie. I wasn't very keen on. I'm just like, okay, it just feels like she's there and really doesn't add too much. Besides the fact that she was
Well,
in
that was the thing.
book and everything.
Yeah.
But I will say, her dialogue with her dad about religion,
Yeah.
and you underestimate the power of belief.
Yeah.
I loved those
was good.
lines.
Yeah.
Like I felt like that was very powerful, and that was kind of needed
Mm-hmm.
because it's. I don't know. I feel like it just hits the meaning a little bit harder in this movie.
And they might be setting up for like another movie if this
They
does well
definitely
I heard that
enough.
there's supposed to be a third.
That sounds like this is where it's going, especially the way it ends.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like she'll have a bigger part in the
so
second.
I like that
or
we
the
can
next
see
one.
the Emperor
Yeah.
and his thing. He's in with the Bene Gesserit. But like, yeah. Whereas in the TV series, she's kind of like, she's not really part of the plan, but like when things start going in Paul's favor, she kind of sides with him.
Yeah, she's against her father. Yeah.
Here, the whole movie, she's like, darn, I wish we weren't doing this, but
You
what are
killed the
gonna do?
Atreides guys? Oh man.
Ah, man, you killed it.
That's fucked up.
The Reverend Mother, she's
on,
like,
Dad.
Reverend Mother, she's like, you kind of set this in motion. She's like, yeah, I did.
No
she's like,
shit, Florence Pugh.
She's like, darn it, wish you didn't do that.
And she's like, well, you have raised me my whole life to be the Empress and fuck people over, so I guess this is okay.
Because then the whole thing with the Bene Gesserit, they're pissed about the Paul thing. They thought they could control him. I think that's why they wanted the Baron to spare him in the first one.
They were so afraid of the thing that they were waiting all these centuries for, or
they weren't
decades.
ready yet.
Yeah.
They were mad that Jessica did it without permission.
They were like,
that's why
oh,
they were like,
shit. We want the quiz out, how to wrap it, not this one, kill it.
And I think they mentioned that they've tried it before, but whenever it got to the Water of Life, all the fucking dudes died. So they're like,
Which
no,
is
we got to
hilarious.
really practice. Really got to fine tune this. But I love that they're like, and this gets into our another plot line. They're like, well, Paul is either dead or just not an option anymore because he probably wants to kill all of us if he is alive. They're like, who's next? Like, oh, the Baron's psychotic nephew. And they're like, Raban? No, the other one.
Other one.
Played by Austin Butler.
Man, he's great in this
was
as Fade.
phenomenal.
Seeing him in this, I'm like, oh, I wish this character was in the first one.
I
Now
don't
having
hate it.
seen him, I was like, oh man, he's good.
I was
He's so
skeptical.
good.
I was skeptical too, and I was like, oh, that guy who plays Elvis? And then
Well, he was really good as Elvis.
I didn't see that movie, but he's fucking awesome as Fade.
He's another. I think him
Yeah, he
and
is.
Zendaya are both like they were like Disney or Nickelodeon kids.
Zendaya,
know.
I think she was definitely not Nickelodeon.
I think Zendaya was Disney.
Disney,
She
I
had
think.
to
I
be.
think
I
also,
was a Nickelodeon girl. I didn't have Disney.
Well, she has some chops on her. Like she is.
No,
good.
she's a good actress.
Oh, she's fantastic.
and Austin Butler is really good. And
Yeah.
I love seeing the Baron. The Baron's pissed because the Beast Raban sucks.
What?
And by the way, he's like
hilarious.
murdering his like lady servants.
What? Yeah, but wasn't
Oh
Beast
my-
Raban like kicking people's asses in the first one, and then like in this, it's just
Yeah.
Dave Bautista like running away from everybody?
Yeah, well, the Fremen are strong now. Okay,
Yeah.
so
I know.
I was gonna save this for the one part, but I do have
Sorry.
to mention it here. So they don't do the time jump. There is supposed to be like a few years time jump after at a certain point in the book. After the Water of Life, there's like a time jump. They don't do that. So Lady Jessica is pregnant the whole film.
Real time, yeah.
Yes, which is different. But like in that time, Paul is supposed to teach them the weirding way, that karate.
Yeah.
Which is the only reason Jessica gets spared at the end of the first movie. Javier Bardem's just like, wait, you know the weirding way? We could use
Teach us,
that.
which was
Yeah.
weird because
And-
when you leave the weirding
Yeah.
way was weird because when you leave that out, there's a big gap, and you're like, oh,
I guess
Yeah.
they fill it in with making her Reverend
assuming-
Mother.
I'm assuming they shot the scene because I think the first film there was a scene where Jessica was training Paul, but it got cut.
Yeah.
I guess what we're led to believe is that he's teaching them off camera.
I
So
guess.
that's why the Beast
I
is
didn't
scared
get
because now the
that.
Fremen are like stronger and they're more strategical and they are better at karate.
But the
I
way that it, oh, I'm sorry.
No. I was gonna say I didn't even get that he was actually maybe like a little bit, like kind of guiding them a little bit, but being that
honestly,
at least the motivation to keep going and be stronger.
It-
That's what I
it
got. I
felt
didn't
like
get.
Zendaya was guiding him more than anything else.
Oh,
in the film.
absolutely. She
You know
was
what I
guiding
mean?
on the
Well, they were supposed to
Fremen
like
way.
teach
Yes.
each other. They're like, this
That's
is how
why-
we do it. He's like, well, this is this new fighting method you can use that will really counter
But
them.
you do see that after he's hiding in the sand, and all of a sudden that's when they notice, oh, how the hell did you learn to fight like that? And
Yeah.
that's where I was like, okay, maybe he's teaching them a little bit of his way once they really,
Yeah.
all of them recognize, oh, he's a good fighter.
She mentions it again too when they kill all the Harkonnen at the when they get the big spice mining.
Yeah,
thing.
that
Yeah,
scene was
that's-
awesome.
yeah.
Oh, when she shoots the
rocket,
That's the one I'm
yeah.
talking
down?
about,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And she's like, "Oh, where'd you learn to fight like that?"
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
okay.
Because when
she
got,
says it like twice. I think.
Yeah.
yeah, because when they get back, that's when all of a sudden the ones that are the non-believers start paying more. That's when what? That's right before he got his name.
Yeah.
Right? That's
yeah.
the scene right before he got his name. And
One
that's
of his
when they're like,
5
oh my
names.
gosh.
He's like a Jellicle cat from Cats. They have multiple names. It's Paul, Usul, and Muad'Dib. But he's also the Lisan Al-Gaib or the
Paul.
Kwisatz Haderach and the Mahdi. That's a lot of names, this fucking
And
guy.
Messiah. They just call him the Messiah. Just straight up the
He's
Messiah.
like Sauron in Lord of the Rings. He's Sharky, Sauron.
Shark, Sauron, Sharky, the
I don't know
white.
if you've watched Lord of the Rings, but they left
Yes.
out the part in the book where he goes by the name Sharky at the very end.
I love that.
They show up at the Shire. He's like, I'm Sharky now.
I just-
what
I
the
just-
fuck?
I just see Christopher Lee with like a pair of sunglasses on.
Yeah. I'm not that
Oh,
other
Sharky.
guy. I'm Sharky. Anyway. Sorry.
you're good.
I'm thinking of Christopher Lee in a bad disguise.
I think Paul like says his name like 2 or 3 times, like the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm Paul Muad'Dib,
Yes.
Usul, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, Atreides.
So I think the idea is that in between these things, he's training them. We're just not seeing it because
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
just. But that explains why they're like able to now kick the Beast Raban's ass, and also they didn't have. Like, they know how the Harkonnens think because their families have fought for so many years.
yeah,
The Fremen
absolutely.
didn't have that. So
Yeah, but
He's able to give. I think that's where I was thinking of that. He was able to give more. They had the fighting skills and the skills of fighting in the sand, but he had the strategy because he knows exactly what you
Yeah,
said.
sure.
He knows exactly how they think.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
adding the two together, they'd definitely be stronger.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just like the fight between him and Josh Brolin is very anticlimactic too. I mean, I was like, oh shit, but like they don't really duke it out, you know. And I guess that's not to overshadow the fate
yeah,
fight.
I think it's not to overshadow, but I do
Yeah.
like that scene. I'll talk about that
Yeah.
in the final section.
I think
But,
it's cool, but
But yeah, so the Beast sucks. He's doing a bad job. The Baron's. I like that the Baron has this medical station just attached to him now because he
Yeah.
almost died in the previous.
Yeah,
film.
yeah.
He's got his fucking like life support
he
with him the whole time.
they look like those torture droids from
Yeah.
Star Wars.
So we get to see more of Giedi Prime.
It's really awesome.
that was really awesome.
the black sun is so
Yes.
cool because it makes everything black
It
and
makes
white.
everything black and white.
Love that scene.
so
just
cool.
the color, just
They-
like it's
Yeah.
so.
They shoot off fireworks and they're black.
Yes.
because
I
you won't be able to
love
see
that.
it.
By the way,
Yeah.
I love that this scene because we got a hint to it in the first film that they're very ruthless.
Yeah.
Remember there was that spider thing in the first film when the Reverend Mother meets with the Baron. She's like, "Get rid of your pet," and it's a weird spider. That's like a human that's been horribly stitched together into a gimpy spider.
I don't remember that.
But there's more things like that in the arena. Remember in the background of the arena, there's
I
those guys in like gimp
love-
suits with those
Yes.
hammerhead things.
Pretty cool.
yes.
But then we see like they're like they got a little gayer with the Harkonnens in this one. They didn't do it for the first film.
I liked it.
because they know like that's a criticized part of the book. But
Yeah.
in this one, they were like, let's make it a little gay. We're not going to have the Baron with the sex slave
No.
boy. We're not going to do that.
It's
very much
which is one of my
implied.
complaints. But they're like,
Yeah.
we can make it a little gay. So we're going to have a fat guy tits out. Give the knife to Austin Butler. But like they show, he's like, oh, let me test this, and he just starts killing
Oh
his fucking
my
like
gosh.
slaves.
Great.
But then you had the other three with the I think was it
Yeah, he had the
black and
three girls that he
three girls
liked.
that were like
Feed him his
cannibals?
guts. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
He's like, oh, you want some lungs? You want some whatever?
yeah, they're all shaking, they're laughing. I was
By
like,
the way,
damn.
Austin Butler is like doing an impression of Stellan Skarsgård that I really like.
Yeah.
The way he's talking like him too.
Yeah.
Kind of. He's like doing an impression, but like you're like, oh, they're relatives for sure.
And this is the only time they really go into this where like I don't think the Baron wanted to kill Fade, but he like purposely doesn't give the one guy a shield to fuck over Fade, but he wants
Yeah.
to see if Fade is strong enough to kill
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
But
for
remember
sure.
in the book, like they're like supposed to be planning together, but they're also trying to kill each other at certain
Yeah,
points. That's
yeah.
the closest we ever get. But I love that he's like totally cool with it. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, all right, let me turn off my shield.
I love yeah.
I love when one of the Gimp guys goes to help him out. He's like, get the fuck out.
stay back. Because he's a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
But that's
So,
what
well-
it is. He
Yeah.
he wants that almost dying.
The rush.
He
Yeah.
wants,
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
obsessed with
He's
the
obsessed
rush.
with pain too, as we find
oh,
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So Giedi Prime has their own, I guess, Bene Gesserit, which is played by Leah Seydow, who's the Lady Fenring. She has a husband in the book, and they shot scenes with Tim Blake Nelson. They cut them all out.
Really?
So her husband's gone, which I'm fine. You don't need him.
But the Bene Gesserit all like talk to each other, but they're all part of everybody's houses.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. The houses are kind of in on their plan. They're like, okay, yeah, you're trying to breed us. That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
whatever.
fine. We'll keep you as concubines till we get real wives.
oh my god.
But I love that
Inject me with the Kwisatz Haderach.
Yeah, so she's watching Austin Butler do this horrible thing. She's like, yeah, that gotta be good. Then she seduces him.
Oh,
which
she's
I,
getting
That
hot,
was an
dude.
interesting scene.
I love that scene where she's like luring him in.
With the voice.
Yeah, and then like she does the gum Jabbar thing with the box, and
Yeah.
then she's just like, by the way, he is crazy. He's insane.
yeah.
But he loves pain. He loves pain. He really enjoyed the box. And we can manipulate him by humiliation because he's afraid of looking weak in front of his uncle, and with sex.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
And then she's.
I got the insurance right here, baby.
By the way,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
worry. I'm pregnant. Gonna make it a lady.
good.
I do love that part. I don't know if it was mentioned in the book. Maybe it was just added for the movie. But I love the part where they're like, Reverend Mother, why didn't you go? And she's like, well, I'm a motherly figure, and he killed his mom, so
Yes.
I'm not going.
Oh, she's also like, do I got to bear this kid?
Oh yeah. I don't
another-
see
Shut
Charlotte
up.
Rampling doing the sexy scene.
Oh my god.
Look, she was hot in Zardoz, but that was a long time ago.
Maybe she can use some of that Bene Gesserit glamour on him.
Yeah. They show a little bit more of her face in this movie. They're
Yeah.
like, okay, now that she's more of a character and she lived past the first film, let's show more of her face.
Yeah, because she walks around like No Face from what is that? Spirited Away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I think that's another thing. We're like, she's pretty old. We'll say it's Charlotte Rampling. People know her, but in case she dies, it's not going to be the end of the world between movies.
It's way more easier to CGI her face and put a drapery over it to hide all the imperfections.
So they're all in on Fade.
Yeah.
They're buying into Fade coin. They're going all into Fade coin.
Dude,
Jesus
put me
Christ.
down for 50 Fade coin. He was great.
Yeah, and the Baron's just like, all right, Fade, you're in charge now. And he like totally belittles Batista.
Oh, poor
Dude,
baby.
he fucking swipes him out and he's about
Yeah.
to
Real
kill him.
bad.
Yeah.
He's like, you fucking
But I
embarrassed
liked-
us again.
I like that, because remember, everyone's trying to screw each other over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But I like
That's
that
like the nature of the Harkonnen.
The
Exactly.
fucking Baron Harkonnen is just like, look, you're going to do this. I'm going to make you emperor. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, look, he's got a daughter. He's old. We could blackmail him. He's the one that got us to kill the Harkonnen. We have a lot of
the
blackmail.
Atreides.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you play this right, if you do good here, the Atreides. I can make
Emperor
you in-
Fade?
I can make you in line. Because I think the Baron's being realistic. He's like, I got a fucking ball hooked up to me. I'm not living much longer. Also, I did not really take care of myself. I don't know if you noticed these suspenders.
Too many of those Routhian chili dogs or whatever.
So you're in line to be emperor. Good news. Just get rid of that Muad'Dib. We don't know who he is.
It couldn't be Paul Atreides.
It couldn't
No.
be Paul Atreides. So then we get like to Jessica's story. We're kind of bouncing on.
Nah,
bouncing
it's all
back.
right.
I know, like my brain's like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
Wait, where
So
we
Lady
go?
Jessica, she's like, okay, I need to go south and meet the Fremen's Reverend Mother who lives there.
Well, she's going there to convince she's like,
Yeah.
yes.
'Cause
Well, I've
she's-
convinced the people of the
Well,
north.
well,
Now I got to convince
Wait,
the millions of the
helps her-
south.
Well, we didn't. Wait, did we talk about her actually drinking the?
Not yet,
the
because
worm
I just
piss?
realized a big moment. The reason is, so she wanted to like convince the North, and what
Yeah.
helps is Paul riding the Sandworm.
Yes.
And I do love when the Sandworm.
And the water of life, both.
The water.
The water of life,
water
but
of life
that's when she
happens-
goes to the south. When she convinces the North was with Paul
But she
riding
drinks.
the Sandworm.
Oh, okay,
she
'cause it
drinks
was like
the
a
water of
grandfather worm.
She drinks the water of life before he rides the Sandworm.
Yeah.
though,
She
right?
does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't
Because
know that.
That's when they turn to her as the Reverend goes. It has been done.
Yeah, because
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So
No,
that's
no,
why I was
you
like,
know.
wait a minute, let's not go
Because
that
yeah,
far.
so
that
she's
was
not
like
there.
that was the ultimatum. Like either we kill you or you become Reverend Mother, and they
Yes.
do that whole
Got
ritual.
you. Got
Yeah.
you. Sorry.
And
sorry.
he's
Only
like,
saw it
let's
once.
go back.
sorry.
and he's like, oh my god, you killed my mother, and he's like,
See,
you're
that's why
fine
it's-
because she's Bene
That's why it's
Gesserit.
hard reviewing movies that are in theaters. I can't like take notes in the theater.
That's all right.
It's too dark, so I misremember things.
Well, we all remember different stuff, so that's cool.
So yes,
I
yeah,
totally
yes.
saw a different movie than you guys. I don't know how.
So she does the water of
I was
life.
on PCP
She's
while I
talking
watched.
to her unborn baby. I do love when the Reverend Mother, when they realize, because that is also the thing from the book where she hides the pregnancy, and they go, "Oh no, we're not
What
allowed
did we
to
do?"
I love that.
Yeah, like because she's giving her all the memory of all the other, and this is when it gets real trippy. I love all the trippy stuff.
This
It was
was
actually
great. I
cool.
didn't expect them to do this because they
Yeah.
show the fetus and,
Yeah.
and like the blue water of life like engulf it and
Yeah.
it starts to grow and has a conscious already and like communicate telepathically.
Because
and
it
stuff.
has all the memories of all the previous Reverend
Which is
Mothers, but
pretty
I like,
incredible.
I like
Yeah.
as the Reverend Mother dies, she's just like, "Oh no, that was bad." I did like she was talking to Paul about it. She's like, "So what do you do to become Reverend Mother?" She's like, "I don't know. It's different everywhere. I don't know what the fuck they do here."
They milk a fucking
Yeah.
worm
kind
and they
of
make you drink
blindside
it.
her, like,
Yes.
"Drink this blue liquid." She's like, "What is it?"
Oh, Reverend Mother goes drink, gives her the voice and everything.
Oh my
You know
God,
what it
yeah.
reminded me? I love how she's so strong, her voiceover power.
Yeah.
It reminded me about the Grinch. This is not pudding. I don't know why it reminded me of that line.
This is not the water of life.
Lady Jessica's like, "What is it?" This is not spice. So yeah, she's now the Reverend Mother. She's instilling this whole thing. She's like, "My son, he's the thing." And he earns their respect when he finally rides the Sandworm.
Well,
Yes.
because she has the prophecy.
Yeah.
Because she is Bene Gesserit, so like he is the Kwisatz Haderach.
Well, they don't know for sure. So
Yeah.
the Bene Gesserit thousands of years ago had the Fremen. They were like, one day one of us ladies is gonna come here, and we're gonna either have a son here or bring a son, and he's gonna be the hero.
Yeah.
That's where it gets fuzzy
Yeah.
because they're like, it's just a stupid prophecy. It's just a story. Like
Yeah.
you're not actually the thing, but he is the thing. but not.
Well, he's definitely the Kwisatz
He
Haderach.
is.
The
Yeah.
whole idea that the Fremen god sent him, that's the made up part.
Right.
That's the part they made up to like please them.
Yeah.
So yeah, he rides the sandworm, and I love
this
cool.
scene.
This was a
I think
great
it's one of
scene.
the best. Was it? It's, I think I read somewhere that it took 3 months.
3 months to
right?
shoot, which I feel like that took too long. We did an afternoon for our sand. Yeah.
What's the big deal?
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like 3 months. I'm like, me and Joe knocked our sandworm riding scene in an afternoon.
Amateurs.
Wow.
Yeah, but, like, Denny, hire us next time. We'll get it done a lot faster. But no, this scene
We'll
looks,
shoot it in a basement,
I thought our scene looked good.
especially when we're running alongside it.
Yeah, it was
It
great.
was very realistic. I thought the cinematography almost outdid this movie, to be honest. I don't know how you did it.
Now, this scene does look good. And this is
tripod.
like, here's a big thing. One of the reasons I love the previous film and this one, finally, a big budget blockbuster that looks like a real movie
Yeah.
Yes.
and has good effects and sets. Even if some of them are digital, they look like real sets.
It looked good.
I'm
It
so
does.
tired of these big budget movies going to see them. Like, everything looks fake.
Yes.
Everything looks fake. Fucking Morbius. I don't know if there was a real set in that
Are you
entire
kidding me?
film.
Morbius was the best movie that was ever made, and everything looks super realistic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about that. But no, especially after
Morbius was shit out in like a month. What are
What
you
was the
talking
mov-
about?
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Oh, God.
Magic, just like
What was
your
the-
sandworm
What was
riding.
the fucking we covered it on the live show. Oh God, Lift. The Netflix movie Lift with Kevin Hart. I don't think there's a real background in that entire film.
No, it's
Everything
that's
looks
just,
green.
okay. So my whole thing was that movie was just pure enjoyable. Shut off your brain.
Oh, that movie was pure
I
shit.
I didn't hate it.
don't
I
say.
didn't.
But
hate
I'm
it.
saying, like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh fuck, that looks like a real desert.
I mean, there's
That looks like a real desert. That looks like a real enough
they're
sand.
definitely
That's
in
the thing.
sand for sure. Like
Yeah,
in
and I'm
some
like-
shots. It might not be all practical, but there
Yeah.
is enough practical there where it feels good.
Yes.
Yeah, and like it
It-
looks really nice. Everything in this movie looks. There's not in both movies. There's no like real glaring like that looks rough. Nothing comes to mind.
And if
No,
it is
not at all.
CG, it looks really good.
really-
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the thing
For like
um,
some of the sets inside
yeah.
the Fremen, like
We have so many movies
underground.
now, and I talked about that. I did like a little video over the summer when every movie was bombing.
Yeah.
There's so many movies that are like manipulated in post production.
Yeah.
And then you get movies like this that are like, okay, this is based off a book, so we know what story beats we're gonna hit.
Yeah.
We wrote the script and we're like storyboarding the shots. So they really worked hard on this. And there's a few other movies, like the newest Batman movie. But that one looks beautiful.
oh my
Yes.
god, and
Because
all
they
of that
weren't-
shit is mostly real.
Yeah,
too.
Yes.
and but even when it's digital, it's like they didn't have to worry about because it was its own thing. They didn't have to worry about expanding universes and changing
No.
things. So it's nice to see a movie that it's like, okay, we storyboarded all these effects and we know what everything's gonna look like. We're not making our mind up later. Like,
For
what was
sure.
it Thor: Love and Thunder?
Oh.
His helmet was fake because they probably couldn't decide what they wanted his
my
helmet to look
goodness.
like beforehand.
That was a.
There are
that
some
movie.
atrocities of CGI in
Yeah.
that movie.
just in Marvel movies
Even
in
the
general.
end
lately.
when
Yes.
he's got Stormbreaker or whatever,
Yeah.
or the kid has, I'm like, man, that looks like shit. Like this is a multi-billion
gosh.
dollar company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think one of the reasons people are liking these movies, they're like, oh shit, I remember when you would go see a big budget movie and want to see the
It
coolest
blended.
special effects.
When it was crafted
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it was blended. But this
Yeah.
movie, the fact, yes, we all know sandworms aren't real. Shocker.
Yeah.
But the fact that it blended so well, you can almost believe it
Yeah.
was real.
I feel like
100%. Like you can see like the texture and just how realistic it was, and everything just blended. You were in that world.
When
Yeah.
he's got the hook things, which are really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, they were
when
so
he
good.
shoots them on, he's like Daredevil with those fucking
Yeah.
things, and he pulls the worm like scales,
Yes.
in order to like turn them and stuff. Like I feel like some of that was practical.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they made like a little platform for him.
Yeah.
to
Or
do
no,
all
like
that.
even when he's like hooking it in and stuff.
But
and,
Yeah.
and even just having a little bit of that still makes
Yeah.
sells the whole thing, I feel like.
Yeah,
But,
but,
um,
it just blended.
yeah.
Like, everything.
And I couldn't just stop
Assisted,
looking.
not full CG, but
Exactly.
like a blend of both. Yeah.
And I couldn't just stop looking at all the sets. The sets were so
They were awesome.
good.
Yeah.
I love when she does go to the south and she learns how the water of life is made. And they have that little sandworm.
Yeah, the little pits.
The little maker.
Yeah, those are really cool.
I'm like, that's a cool thing. And I'm just watching the movie, like, especially in IMAX. I'm just like, man, I forgot. you could go see a big budget movie and you'd be like, wow, that was really cool. I was like,
cool.
I haven't
Yeah.
felt like that in a while.
Something
in
that-
a long time.
Yeah, something that doesn't take you out of that world.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
in the world the whole time without being like, oh, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Wait. Oh yeah, this
I
is
haven't
a
felt that
movie.
way since like Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
Which is also
Yeah.
very, I know people pretend it's not digital. This movie's very digital, but it looks great.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
the new one doesn't look that great, but I'll give it a chance.
see.
I'll
We'll
give
see.
it a chance.
Interesting.
I'll give it a chance. So yeah, that whole worm riding scene
It
is
was
awesome.
amazing. Absolutely. And
That's
you're
the
on,
biggest worm I've ever seen.
Yeah, I love
Oh
the
my
still guard's like, no,
goodness,
too big,
too big,
too big. Wait, do another one.
But that entire you are gripping because it's. I think
Yeah.
it's the perfect length too because it's not like a okay, he's done it, it's quick. It takes its time with
Yeah,
it.
it builds
Yeah.
the suspense
It
rather than just like,
does.
he's on a worm.
And
And
the
you
thing
know
is, like-
he's on it though, but like you still holding on tight though as he's going, like it's going under and like it's
Yeah.
When he's
it was
running
beautiful.
on that ridge and he just falls on top
Yeah.
of the worm at first, like that's really great to see him
it's
like get his
almost-
bearings
yeah,
and then like
it's
you
like
said,
a surfer.
yeah, but like when
Yeah.
you said like he starts to like get the hang of it and we watch him do that. It's not just
Yeah.
like, well, he's Muad'Dib, so he could just ride the worm.
no,
Yeah,
yeah,
there
you
were,
see it.
Part of me is annoyed that the trailer spoiled it, but then I remember, I think in the book, he fails the first few times he tries.
Yeah.
So when I was watching the movie, I'm like, oh, maybe he won't get it right this time. And I'm like, oh shit, he nailed it.
But it again, just like Crystal said, it takes it like
Yeah.
the whole sequence is like
It takes a
2
long
or 3
time.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
At least.
But it was great, and we realized like
It was
all of them are
beautiful.
doing it. I
Yeah.
like that they basically use them as trains.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
by the way, they
I
have,
love-
like, I guess they realized they're like, how are we going to explain how this big canopy got on? They're like, let's not even show it. Let's just cut to the worm. It already has it on it. We're like, all right, I guess they did
Yeah,
a
it's all
thing.
right.
And you just forgive it. Like you just feel like, yeah.
So yeah, so he's learning to ride the worms. He's learning all this stuff. But again, his struggle is, I don't want to go to the south. I don't want to become this messiah. I want to
Yes.
help
Well-
the Fremen kill the Harkonnens, but I don't want to do this thing because I don't want to have a full-scale galactic war.
Yeah, 'cause
That
he
quickly
sees
goes out the
this
window.
Dream.
Yeah.
He has that dream where it's just death around.
Well, he
him.
takes the
Yeah.
water of life.
Yeah, he has the
Yeah.
dream if he takes the water, everyone will die. But as we know from the
Yes.
previous film, his dreams aren't the most accurate.
Yeah.
Because he thought Jameis was going to be his good friend, and
Yeah.
that didn't happen. So I can see why he's just like, in the back of his mind, he's like, well, maybe it won't turn out like that if I do it, but I don't want to risk it. I
Yeah,
don't
he
wanna risk
clearly
it.
doesn't want to risk
It's a
it.
real Tony Stark kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I got to prevent this
Yeah.
from happening, so I'm
Yes.
going to go drink that poison.
Yeah. I do like when he shows up at Gurney again. They had the ballast set, the guitar. They cut that out of the previous
Yeah, I
one.
thought that was
They
fun that he was doing that.
That was
So yeah, I like that Gurney's there with the smugglers.
that was a great.
I have an issue with smugglers, but we'll say that for the book accuracy part. But no, I love when they met up again. That
was
was
a good
really good.
scene.
And I love, by the way, I love that they're going through the canyons and they're like, shh, be quiet. And then Josh Brolin's like, oh, okay. So how are you doing with the Fremen? I'm like, shut the fuck up, Josh Brolin. You're going to get everyone killed. The Sardaukar are going to be like, I think they're over there. I hear Josh Brolin
Brolin
yelling
talking.
loudly.
Sounded like Thanos over there.
But I love that it brings conflict back to the
Yeah.
Fremen. Like it's like all of a sudden they're like, oh, we trust him. He's amazing. He's this great thing. And then all of a sudden he's like, who the fuck he just bring into our thing? Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I love there's no matter where you go, once you think there is success, there's all of a sudden now it just turns around so fast where
Yeah.
there's now untrust.
Right,
untrustworthy.
and that's like kind of the rock star thing going here, where he's like, no, I'm like humble dude or whatever. Like I just like to play shows for like my fans, and then like finally he gets like a taste of that
Yeah, he's
fucking
like a
sweet
slut.
shit, and he's like, oh fucking Moadi, we're gonna go kick some Harkonnen ass.
Yeah.
Yo, if I get that silver plaque, you're gonna be dealing with. If you think I'm insufferable now, oh my god!
I know it's coming.
silver plaque, Tony. You better hope the channel gets nuked before that day. I will.
Your fucking eyes are gonna turn blue. He's gonna be ranting in the middle of the street.
You're gonna like
God
walk out of your
damn
house
it.
one day. I'm gonna be on a sandworm with this. With this, I'm gonna be on top of. I'm gonna be ghost riding my car. It's gonna be very dangerous. Holding the dune bucket with the silver plaque, being like, ah!
God damn it.
What happened to Tony? Oh, he got 100,000 subscribers. Then he like crashed his car and died.
I don't know. He saw that movie Teen
Listen.
Wolf, and then it all went downhill.
But it'll only increase subscribers now because we'll do a
It
really
will,
nice
it
tribute.
will. Well, don't worry. I have it in my will. Crystal, when I die, the show goes to Mint Salad. Make sure to tell her. Make sure to tell her.
We already knew this.
Yeah.
This was like an obvious thing.
I trust you to tell her.
Oh, absolutely.
That's such a bizarre thing to think about. Sorry, you just put that in my head, and I'm like, oh, if I like die tomorrow, are people going to carry on the show?
That's the one thing. You're like,
no, it's just
my
like
life, my family, my friends. No, the show.
kind of over, right? No, you must keep going.
Well, like I said, I'm
with
giving
movie dumpster and or hack the movies.
I'm giving it all to Mint Salad. Do you
picture.
want to? I know who you can give it to. Did you see the Soul Man episode with Manny Muscat?
Oh, sure.
Give it to Manny. Manny will take care
It's
of
in
movie
good hands.
dumpster.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna get a whole different audience with Manny. You got to teach him how to censor the N-word. But the channel will be in good hands.
And then it'll reach 100,000 subscribers post-mortem of myself.
Yes.
The Soul Man episode is the most edited episode of Hack the Movies ever. There is a slightly less edited version on Patreon. Still pretty edited.
You should have left it all in for Patreon.
Oh, God,
What are
no.
those people paying for?
No, I was like, oh, man, none of this is getting in there.
I mean, as long as he's saying it and you're not, I think you're good.
YouTube doesn't care about that.
Oh, well, this is also true. That's why I put one of our things on Vimeo, because I was like, I want to show boobs, so I'm going to put it on Vimeo.
That's very honorable.
So yeah, the good thing about Gurney coming back, they kind of didn't mention this in the previous film, but he's like, oh, by the way, the family atomics are in that mountain over there.
Yeah. Even Zendaya's like, what the fuck? How did they put this here without us knowing about it?
They're like, we put this there a while ago. We stuck in and we put this here.
Back when this planet was called Dune.
Because every house has a bunch of atomic weapons. That they, like, much like real life, they try not to use.
So Atreides was ahead of the curve, right? They were like, this spice thing.
Yeah.
We have the power because we'll just nuke the fucking planet if
Yeah.
anybody wants to mess with us.
Pretty much.
You think that was Duke Leto's game? If that didn't go that way, you think Duke Leto would have just set him off?
I think so. Well,
Yeah.
using nukes to kill the
Yeah.
spice, that is a change that I'll get to.
Sure.
But he's basically like, look, we have the atomics now.
Yeah.
We can cause some shit at the Arrakeen city. Because that's the thing. The city is protected by a shield and
Yeah.
the mountain ridge that
Yeah.
keeps the worms out.
Yeah.
Because the worms hate the shield, but the mountain's there. They can't get to it anyway.
Right.
But with atomics, you can blow those bad boys up and let them in.
You think graboids are on this planet too? Probably.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just was thinking
What is
about
it?
that.
Graboids from Tremors.
From Tremors.
Those are the worms from Tremors.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So basically, like, everything's going well for a bit, and then Fade comes in, and Fade cleans house.
Yeah.
Destroys that one place.
Brutal.
What was Raban doing? Like, he was just like, oh, everybody's just dying. I keep sending them out doing the same thing, and they're dying. And Faye's just like, I don't know, go fucking shoot the shit out of that.
That's the thing. The
place.
Harkonnens, they're like so used to slave labor to like a fault. They're like, men are just expendable. Throw more at them. It's like, yeah, but eventually you're gonna run out of too many men, and it's gonna come back to you. Like, you can't just. You gotta like be strategical about this. You can't just keep throwing people into a meat grinder. That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
But they're just saying like, oh, it's the desert, it's the sand, it's getting them. They're
And also, he was over because he used to run Arrakis before the Emperor made him switch, and before the Fremen weren't trained as well as they are now. So he was like, I kill him.
I guess so. Yeah.
So yeah, Fade like destroys that one city that they have.
That was so fucking sad
Yeah.
when it goes into where they're
It's like their
What's
main
it
city.
called?
The water.
the water.
Yeah,
The sacred waters.
Yes.
the sacred water. Yeah.
That was brutal.
Not even a Fremen who was dying of thirst would drink from this.
Yeah.
All the fucking rocks
Yeah.
fall
Like,
down.
oh, cool, we got some birds
God.
here. He's like, I'll just flamethrower those. And then there's this spy, and she's like, I'll never do anything. It's like, I don't care. I'm lighting you on fire.
Yeah.
He's as ruthless as a
Brutal.
PG-13 movie will let him be.
I mean, it's pretty ruthless.
Yeah.
There's less blood, a lot of killing, but not that much blood.
Yeah, they wanted
Yeah.
a PG-13.
Yeah.
I've mentioned that before. Like, technically, PG-13 movies are more violent than R-rated movies.
Yeah.
But the fact, like, you watch a Marvel movie, Iron Man's shooting like 15 people, but since there's no blood, it's,
it's
I
fine.
guess,
Oh, you were
better.
sorry with that, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, so there's no blood. I'm like, oh, you can watch. You, honey, like you'd be like with your kid, you'd be like, honey, you can watch Iron Man murder 1 million people, but if there's an ounce of blood, we're turning it off.
Yeah. It's the whole thing with nudity, too.
yeah. it's
There's boobs in this. You
Isn't
can't
it-
watch this.
yeah,
but this
isn't there,
person can
like-
get their head
Ah,
cut off.
I don't want boobs in my movie where people are killing each other violently, but without blood. Get it out of here.
Wasn't that how like a lot of PG-13 they also get away with it by having like the blood a different color
different
or
color,
something
yeah.
like that? And
They
Well, I
skirted
think
that
it
a
maybe
few
helped with
times.
the black
Yeah.
and white scene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually.
Um,
I love that scene.
so yeah, now Paul's at like a thing. He's like, fuck, I gotta go south and become the Kwisatz Haderach.
I gotta go drink that blue juice.
The only way I'm gonna be able to counter them because they're way stronger now. I'm not prepared for this. So like, he does it. He almost dies.
He does it reluctantly, but then again, when he revives
Yeah.
and comes back, he's a he's
Yeah,
a
he
fucking
has-
rock star.
He has like
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
He's like, ah!
I've seen it all.
It's like fucking the Highlander at the end.
Yeah.
It's when he gets like the
quickening.
the gift. He's like, I know everything. I see everything. So yeah, now that he has the water life and he survived, he can see multiple they're still not guaranteed, but he can see them
Possible
clearly.
futures.
Well, we
Yeah.
have to talk about Shawnee. How she's
Shawnee,
the-
yeah,
yes,
Shawnee
Shawnee's like-
saves him.
Yeah, what the
The
desert
tear.
tears. Yeah,
I think she mixes her tear with the water of life.
well, she just
Yeah.
or she takes it and then I think she just puts it on his lips. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because her name means desert
Desert tears.
tears.
Yeah, desert tears.
And like in the prophecy, it has to be desert tears that revive
Mm-hmm.
him. So she like takes the tears, dips it in the juice, and then puts it in his lips.
Yeah,
and he, like,
that's
comes back
what
to
it
life.
was.
And I guess
Yeah.
that like psychically
That's right.
he's able to like her genetics, he's able to like get himself out of that whole
But
thing.
and I think that's the way she reacts was so great because it's like she's like, this prophecy is bullshit. You just killed someone that I loved.
Yeah.
And now unfortunately it's hitting her in the face that this prophecy, she's still, I mean, even afterwards, she's still refusing that it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's probably fucking with her head so hard.
Well, she only
Yeah.
does it because Jessica gives her the voice.
Yeah,
That's the only
she's
reason
pow-
why.
yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
did. Again, their show. I do
She's like,
kinda
"Fuck it,
like,
you do it, Jessica."
I kind of like that
Yes.
they're not
You bring 'em back.
super good. Like technically, they're the good guys.
They're
'cause
not.
The Harkonnens are really bad, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they're just another house that need power.
They're,
and like,
they're using their religion against
Yeah.
them.
the Fremen are
Pretty
actually
much,
the
yeah.
only like pure people I think in this entire movie.
And honorable people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
House Atreides is, but now that Leto's gone, that's
Yeah.
all out the window because
Yeah.
it's a fucking child leading this rebellion who's now
yeah,
their
now
messiah.
given too much power,
Right.
and too
Yes.
many people believe in him.
Right.
He's literally,
He's smelling his own farts, dude. He's believing his
Yeah.
own hype.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of asked her to pull this whole plan
Well,
off.
also true. We'll get to the end though.
yeah.
But yeah, so he meets with all the people. He proves to them that he is the Lisan al
He
Gaib.
just fucking
Because I like that now he can just like look into people's past. He like just singles out that guy. She's like, you had a grandmother and she did this.
And
With
she got a rock thrown at her eye and
Yeah,
when she
and
was
then
12
just-
and he's like, holy shit, okay.
He's like, Lisan al Gaib. Oh my god. Oh my god. And I like that like Shani was like yelling like at the one point and like fucking Gurney's like, shut the fuck
Yes.
up, woman.
sit down. He's
He's
gonna be
just
he's
like
gonna be the
he's just
messiah.
like-
yeah.
He's like, look, I know you're conflicted right now. He's like, but I fucking hate Harkonnens.
You don't
and I want to
understand.
kill Raban.
We need to
I
get to
want-
Raban.
I was a slave
Yes.
and I want to fucking murder him.
You know what's so funny about that? Just real quick, Drax's whole arc in like the
Yeah.
Marvel movies is like, I gotta kill Thanos because
Oh, yeah.
he killed my family. Now it's like the opposite. Josh
Yeah,
Brolin's like,
that's
I gotta
actually
kill Drax
really
because
funny.
he
But
killed
now
my
it's, yeah,
family.
now it's Thanos trying to kill him.
That's actually really funny.
So yeah, he buys into it, and it leads to like an awesome showdown. The Emperor shows up. The Emperor's pissed because they send a message.
What happened to my spice?
What happened to my spice? I love they send a message like,
Byron,
"Hey, I'm
why?
Paul Muad'Dib. I'm alive. I'm gonna
Spoiler
fucking-
alert.
I'm gonna take the capital hostage and fuck up your whole spice thing."
LOL.
I thought they were gonna throw a curveball where Christopher Walken just goes and blows his own brains out. Right? He's like, oh, I'm fucked. That's not what happens, but
Their plot though is brilliant with the whole with the storm coming.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought that, and so I'm a little conflicted because I felt like from this point on, going into the battle scene and then towards the end, felt not rushed, but compared to the whole movie, how it took its time and it was so beautiful, and the pacing. All of a sudden, the pacing completely changed, and it kind of took me a little
sped
bit.
up a lot.
It just sped up, and I liked it, but at the same point, I feel like there should have been pieces that could have taken its time.
yeah,
it wasn't
Just not all of it.
It wasn't as extravagant as I thought.
yeah,
And maybe and it might sound ridiculous saying that because of like the spectacle that's happening, but like
Yeah.
it's not as grandiose as I thought it was going to be because it's like all the worms are coming
Yeah.
and all this shit and like
I think maybe that was like purposeful because they're like the real ending we want is this fight and personal drama. We don't want to
But
Sure.
those are
People
two
are
totally different things.
I know,
because there
people-
is so
You're gonna have that anyway.
Yeah.
the audio
That's
alone.
part of it.
But I feel like what my thing is, it's kind of like Lord of the Rings. You have those giant battles. If they did the scouring of the Shire afterwards, would have felt like a letdown. So I feel like they kind of like sped through the big battle.
Yeah, but
so
even
that
the-
final
But there
fight
should
could
have been
feel.
a couple
I'm not saying it's
slower
right. I wouldn't have
moments.
done that, but
I'm not trying to compare it, but
Yeah.
like even the Lynch version though,
Yeah.
like that feels like a bigger battle than what
Yes.
happens. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, it's bigger in terms of like special effects extravaganza in this, but like it just felt like it lasted. It was more impactful in that
yeah.
one.
I do love when there's like the big storm and like the worms
It's
like heads
awesome.
come out
That-
and the
it was
Sardaukar
amazing.
are like, how do we fight that?
And they're like, oh shit. And you do get a little bit of like Zendaya fighting on the battlefield and stuff like that, but it's not anything like I want to see
Yeah.
Josh Brolin killing more dudes.
You know what's
Yes.
funny? Did you notice something about her fight during the battlefield? Okay, so in the previous film,
it's a little not great Corey.
well, it's literally copy and paste it for a reason.
Is it really?
So in the previous film, remember he was having the visions of all the future things that would happen?
Oh, yeah.
And they showed him, he was like in gold armor and he was fighting all the Sardaukar with the worms in the back. She does the exact same moves he did in that one. So basically his vision came true. It just wasn't him doing that part. It was her on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Which shows like, hey, this might happen, but it might happen
did
differently.
not put
because
those
that part
together.
actually that was one scene in the first film that looked very digital. It was obviously like a digital like Timothy Chalamet,
Like a paint over.
and I think this one the reason they did it is because they wanted to copy and paste it with her in this. So it looks a little different, but it's the same movement.
I wouldn't have
Makes
caught
sense.
that unless I watched it back to back.
Yeah. Well, I did. I watched it like earlier that day.
Yeah, that's right.
and
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
I also wouldn't have caught it. I kind of
No.
wish they did have that. God, that gold armor looked cool in the first one. Maybe
Yeah.
they're gonna wear that in the next one when they get a little bit more rich. Now that he's emperor.
During well,
But yeah,
Holy Wall.
it just felt like they talked about the battle so
Yeah.
much and so in depth, and you're like waiting for this beautiful fight scene, and then it was just like,
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong.
and then
I
all
mean,
of a sudden they're in the middle, like they're already with the emperor. I was like,
it's there.
quick.
Yeah.
And you
Yes.
do see the scenes,
it's
but it
great.
just feels a little anticlimactic. That's all.
But yeah, then it quickly cuts to inside the emperor's
Yeah.
like ship or
Yeah.
the pyramid.
The pyramid
but we
that-
have to talk
ship.
about the day. Oh my goodness, I can't say his name now. All of a
Batista?
sudden, yeah.
Oh,
And they're-
Raban, yeah.
Raban,
Yes,
Raban and
they're-
Gurney, yeah.
That I mean, I am happy they took a little. I mean, that could have
Yeah.
also been a little bit more stretched.
That looks
but
like
I-
a completely different place.
It
Yeah.
does though.
and I'm like,
right?
where are we in fucking Mount Doom? Like, oh, it's in that like hangar, right?
Yeah, I
'Cause
think
they're-
it's in the hangar,
like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But it does. It feels very different. The
like,
colors
everything-
are different. The
It's
feel
very
is different.
yeah, it's very warm, and there's like fires going on and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
And Beast Raban's about to take off in his little.
Yeah, Beast Raban's about to run away.
Yeah, again,
Yes!
he runs
What
away
a
like 3
bitch.
times. He's supposed to be like this big feared bad
Yeah.
guy.
So I
think
kind
he
of
just
love
gave
this
up.
because this is sort of what happens in the original story. Like he calls the other great houses to come.
Yeah.
And witnesses, they're like, wait, the Emperor is having a showdown with Paul Muad'Dib and all our spice stuff is probably fucked. We should probably go there.
He's basically like, I'm gonna blow your shit up.
They're like, we should probably, all the houses are like, we should probably go there and kill him.
Yeah.
So he doesn't fuck our shit up. But he basically tells him, it's like, hey, I can destroy all the spice on Arrakis and you're all fucked. So I'm Emperor now.
Don't mess with me, man. I'm
Yeah.
taking the
Yeah.
throne.
Yeah, and then Christopher Walken's like, hey, you're gonna beat Fate Ratha. Oh, the Baron dies, by
Yes,
the way.
yes.
The Baron's death is super anticlimactic.
That,
Paul
yes.
just showed, I mean, I don't know. It was cooler how it usually happens, but in this, because they changed it, Paul just shows up. He's like, I'm stabbing you. Ah.
Well,
Yeah.
I kind of like that. It's a little weird because he's like, "Hey, grandfather," and then he stabs
Yeah.
him. But he's like, "You're gonna die like an animal," which is pretty great.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
like, "Yeah,"
'cause-
and he's like, "Throw him in the desert," and
I
like later
forgot-
you see him getting like
I
eaten by
like
ants
that,
and stuff.
but
Yeah.
the physical kill, the physical
Yeah.
lead up to him being killed, and then him physically being killed, I'm just like,
Well,
oh.
even one of the what's his face? The Emperor's guards like cuts his tubes and like smashes his
Yeah.
like little Doc Ock thing in his back.
Yeah, that was the thing. He was already about to get killed.
yeah. But I think he knew that. That's
Yeah.
why he was trying to set up Fade
Yeah,
for the Emperor to
yeah,
continue the.
he knew
you
his
know what I
days
mean?
were numbered. Jessica did find out that the Baron is her father
Yeah.
through the Water of Life,
Yes.
but I forgot to mention, like, during the Water of Life, we see Anya Taylor-Joy as the grown-up Arya, but she shows that Arrakis has water,
Yeah.
yes,
and I'll get to it, but like that feels like a weird thing to introduce because they didn't they've ignored the whole plot line that leads up to that. But I guess
Exactly.
it's just saving it for later.
That's what I was gonna say. It feels like that is such a larger portion because I haven't fully even read the full first book yet. But I do know in the series, like the Children of Dune and stuff like that, it talks more about her and other people. Like
The
Paul
rains
really
do
isn't.
come.
Yeah, Paul isn't that main savior. He's like the setup for the actual saving.
And then
And
eventually
she
one of
is.
his grandkids turns into a worm person. I can't wait to see what the
Oh,
fuck
yeah.
happens there. I look at the cover
That
of
I
that book
knew.
and I'm just
Yes.
like, I hope they at least get up to that one because I really want to know what the fuck's
It
happening.
definitely feels like that though, because like we weren't ready for it in the first one. And we're like, oh shit, it's 2 parts. And then when you get to the end, you're just like, there's gonna be a fucking other one, isn't there? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is fine with me.
So they have the fight, and the fight's pretty awesome.
The Fade Paul fight is great.
They
Yes.
the one change that they did, not have it where Fade tried to cheat. Because remember, that's usually what fucks him over.
Yeah.
He tries to use that
the
poison
poison
thing in his
knee
belt
thing,
and then
yeah.
fucks him over. But here they just made it like a legit. They do the cliche where it's like one of them got stabbed. Which
Yeah.
one is it? And it's like, oh, it's Fade.
But Paul gets messed up because he gets stabbed by Fade.
Oh yeah,
like,
he
right in the
gets like
gut.
really
gosh,
fucked up.
Yeah.
But what I like about this so much is it's so intense because there's no music in this, right? It's
No,
just
I was gonna bring that
Yeah.
up, and it was cool because
Yeah.
like everything just drops out, and it's just the
Yes.
sounds of the dudes and the knives
Yeah.
hitting.
Which I love when fight scenes
Yeah.
drop the music, like that scene in The Dark Knight Rises where Bane fights Batman in the sewer.
It
I
makes
What's
thought
The
that was-
Dark Knight Rises?
Huh?
I've never seen it.
What were you saying, Joe? You were saying it was the best Batman movie? Oh, I agree,
I'm
Joe.
just gonna pretend like I've never seen it.
I'm Switzerland on this one.
Kill you.
Yeah, the sound drops out, and it's like so. Fuck, what was I gonna say? I'm sorry.
Well, it was very impactful. That's all you hear. You hear the grunts. You
Yeah.
hear the
Visceral.
I mean, you know what's gonna happen at the end of this fight. You know that Paul's gonna win,
Yeah.
but like, I still was like, ooh, like I
Yeah.
still was like, kind of. I felt the tension. It was
He
good.
usually doesn't get this fucked up.
No,
He
and
gets
I was like,
pretty fucked up.
wait, what else are they gonna change?
Yeah.
Is Paul gonna eat it, and is Zendaya gonna step up and kill fucking
Well, here's-
Fade? Like,
yeah. You don't know what to expect
It
because his the character is so like what's his face? Fred is so evil.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
way more evil than any other version we've seen before, and so fucked up in the head.
definitely more ruthless. He's way more ruthless in the television show, but they show a
Yeah.
lot more in this
Yeah, yeah.
It's, I
Yeah.
think
because they have the gladiator scene in the TV show too.
Yeah, but it's not,
It's not like
near
this.
as
No,
cool as
no,
this
no,
one.
no way.
I don't know.
I'm
Maybe,
just saying.
maybe it's just because this movie just makes his
Well, and then the
character
Sting
so
version, I don't
intense.
think they showed Sting fighting at all earlier. They had him come out of his bath and his
Yeah, and
Speedo.
he
They
was
were
like,
like,
"Hey."
that's enough. That's
it.
all we need.
That's it. Thanks, Sting, for coming in for one day of shooting.
I think he looked great. No, maybe it's
No,
just
but
because
you're right,
of how
though.
intense he is. Maybe his facial expression, just like, or just the makeup and the costume, but just his presence is so intense, and you see how much he's enjoying it.
Yeah.
But you know he likes a good fight, and you know he's going to put
a
in
fair
his
fight
life.
because he has honor,
Yeah.
but he is
Yes.
a fucking nut. But I don't know, he's great.
just don't know
he's
how
really,
it's
really
gonna-
good.
yeah.
I do like that he doesn't even seem bothered when he's dying. He's like,
No.
"Ah,
He's like,
Good
good
fight.
job, Atreides.
I
Good
think-
night.
good
but I
job.
think he-
Have fun. Could be
I
a good
think
emperor
he's-
one day."
Yeah.
I think he's happy about that death. I think if there's any way to die, that's the way he would want to
an
die
honorable
because
death.
it's honorable, and it's with this great fighter.
He even says it to the guy in the battlefield.
Yeah.
The Asian guy that he kills and like
Yeah, yeah.
holds
that's
his
right,
head.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, you did a good job."
It's
Gotta
like,
kill
good,
you,
yeah,
but,
good job,
good
Atreides, or whatever.
Yeah.
So again, I thought they were going to
Yeah.
go more with the TV version where they're like, "Irulan, you're now my wife," and she's
Yeah.
like kind of okay with it. And
Oh
it's
God, this.
instead,
part.
all right, so they did change it where it's her decision. It's not quite as mean as the Lynch one or the book where they're like, "You're my wife now." And she's like, "I am. Who are you?" Oh God.
Well, it's the ultimatum time. It's like,
Yeah.
spare my dad and I'll be your wife.
Yeah, she's
kinda.
like, "Spare my dad, I'll be your wife." And then like in the book and all the other versions, Shawnee's just like, "Oh, well, I thought we were gonna be a thing." And then like Jessica has to come over, like, "Oh, don't worry. They like their side pieces more than their wife. So you're going to be like his mate."
That's how we made Paul.
Yeah, so I was a side piece.
I never
but,
really
I was
married Duke Leto.
I was a side piece, but I'm also like the bottom bitch, and that's what you are in the pimping term.
It's just for show, right?
Yeah,
so he
yeah.
can rule,
The marriage,
but he's
is-
going to come to your
the
room
marriage
every
is
night.
for political reasons.
Yeah.
But
why,
you're his
like-
main girl. They don't do that. Instead,
don't.
Shawnee's like, "Fuck all of you. I'm
I
out.
do
I'm riding a
love that.
worm."
She hits
And
the
I do
worm
love
and he just leaves town.
And I like the whole like thing where they're like, "Hey, the other houses said that you're not emperor," and he's like, "Well, we're doing holy war. Everyone get in the ships. We're gonna go murder
We're-
all the fucking houses.
We're going to paradise. I don't know how the space battle is going to work as well as the sand battle works.
That's gonna be in my issues with the changes. But yeah, so it doesn't feel so much like it is the ending of the book, but the way it's like shot and the little bit of changes, it doesn't feel like this is the end of book.
No.
It's just like
No.
come back for the next one.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what I was
But
getting
Whereas,
that's
at
also
like,
before.
the
like
book-
the first one did that
The
too.
first book, I
Which
mean,
is what I was saying before. Like,
Yeah.
oh, they're going to give you the old,
Yeah.
well, wait for the part 3.
But I,
mean-
do like that because it seems like if they do the same thing that they just did, it's going to pick up exactly where it ended. I
Yeah.
hope they keep it. If they don't keep it that way, I'm going to feel off. But if they keep it exactly
I mean,
where
we
that
did-
moment is,
and like I said, that first film when they showed the visions of the future, they show like Paul and Shani like and on other planets like taking over
Yeah.
and whatnot. Like so we might see that.
it just feels like the intentions of the characters were directed in a very different way than we're so used to seeing, which is
Yeah.
fine. It was just caught me off
I
guard.
mean, the book left a lot of wiggle room for the sequel, but
Yeah.
it felt like the ending of that story. Whereas this is like, come
Yeah.
back for part 3.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting.
he literally
that.
gets in the ship and flies off, and then he's like, next time on Dune.
next time on Dune.
and I think I do like that because with all the other ones, with the sci-fi movies, David Lynch one, we really do just end it there.
Well,
And,
it's
like,
it's
you're like, oh,
definitive.
is this-
It rain, after he kills Fade in the original,
Yeah.
it rains on Arrakis and everybody rejoices and everything's
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
and groovy.
Everyone high fives.
Well,
Yeah.
that's because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
because that
Freeze
movie
frame.
was just like
That was clear.
that movie was literally like he is Jesus. It's
Yeah.
like that wasn't the point of the book, but all right.
Well, they streamlined that, is what, I guess what I'm saying, where they're just like, yep, he sure is the Messiah. Drink that juice.
So now that we've talked about it, I have my list of changes I thought were good and bad.
Okay, hit me. Or hit
Okay.
us, rather.
Bring it on.
But we touched on this a little bit. Irulan is more of a character.
Would you stop
in this.
fingering that Dune bucket, please? She likes it.
I
It
didn't
might-
realize I was doing
Say
it.
it because now
You
like,
see what
watching,
I'm
I was like,
saying?
shit.
I didn't realize it was just like a
You know how sometimes you're petting a significant other. That's what we just got a glimpse of, folks.
Yeah, that'll stop me.
He was rubbing the worm,
Okay,
giving
okay.
giving a little didge.
Ew, because,
So
like,
Irulan-
it's, like,
Slipping the
fingers,
ditch
though.
to
But
the
that's
Dune
the thing.
bucket.
It wasn't like petting your significant other's like.
Yeah, no, that's
It was
what I
like an
mean.
OCD
Like,
thing.
yeah,
This
like,
is
how to,
like
like-
fingering it.
No,
like,
yeah.
no, that's different.
It
than
was a slow
petting.
finger bang. All right.
That was a finger
That's like
bang.
when you're at a party and you're under a blanket watching a movie with everybody.
You can't go too fast. You go too
You got or else you're gonna be like, oh, somebody's okay. What's going on over there?
Anyway, someone watching
That's
this
exactly
right now
what
is going to be
just
like,
happened.
"Oh, I invited Joe to a party and he was under a blanket. Oh, I
Maybe
gotta
back
go,
in high school.
I gotta go clean that blanket." So,
That's exactly. what
Irulan
it
is more of a
was.
character. I'm glad they cut out the thing where, like, after Gurney is like reunited with Paul, Gurney's just like, by the way, for years I've thought Jessica was the traitor and I'm gonna kill her. And they're like, no, the doctor was the traitor. He's like, oh, my bad. I'm glad they cut that. They didn't need it.
My lady.
Yeah. I'm glad because that is like a whole thing. They did it in the TV series.
they
He was
did.
like, I'm gonna fucking kill her. And they're like, no, it was Dr. Yui. He's like, oh, I should have asked that when we first bumped into each other instead of planning this revenge thing.
I don't mind a decent amount that was cut from the sci-fi because there
Yeah.
was just so much detail to keep
Speaking
track.
of stuff they cut,
It's more
Yeah.
political. It's more political jargon.
yeah.
Yes,
So they
exactly.
did film scenes with the Mentat, Thufir.
They did.
Yeah, they cut him out. But it kind of works because the TV series also killed that character in the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
half. Like, I get it. Like, he is around for the second half of the book and he's like doing stuff, but like, you could cut that character. Like, if I had to trim that book down, I probably would cut Thufir out.
We're taking out the Malthasauron. Yeah.
I do like that Gurney kills the Beast Raban because before
I
it
do
was
too.
like just the people, or
Yes.
like in the Lynch movie, he just gets killed off screen. But I
Yeah.
think in the book he is killed by the Fremen, which I know is satisfying. But we have a lot of the Fremen killing the Harkonnen. It was nice to see just one guy get personal
I agree.
revenge.
Yeah.
So fine with that. They simplified how he's going to destroy the spice. They don't really go into
Nuke it from orbit.
So this is part of like
the only way
the
to be
changes
sure.
I thought were bad, but like I get it. So they don't really go into how the spice is made. Like the worms make the spice. There's like a whole thing where the worms are the ones that are kind of like stockpiling all like the water because they use it to reproduce, and that's where you get the pre-spice bowl where they explode and the worms go there.
Yeah.
In the book, he figures out a way to contaminate the pre-spice
You
bowls.
told me this.
Yeah.
Yes.
He can contaminate them, that'll cause a chain reaction and basically kill the worms and kill all the spice. In this one, they simplified it where they're like, we're going to nuke the pre-spice bowls. And they're like, sure, that'll work.
That's going to change the whole aspect of the film. Whoever controls the worms controls the
Pretty
has the
much,
power,
yeah.
right? Oh, real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry, before you keep going. Didn't either of you think it was weird that they had that, like, who has the spice has the power comes before the movie starts?
They did that in the previous film.
Did they?
Yes,
The previous
they did.
film
before
said,
the,
Yes,
before the title bumpers.
Yeah,
I was
the
like, oh,
previous
that was
film
weird.
did the same thing. It said
Yeah.
dreams are messages from the deep. And also, our episode last year started with those who watch must subscribe.
What's this one?
I don't know.
You
I'll
gotta
think of one
something
for
good.
this.
that's a
Okay,
good
good. Well, you guys already know what it was.
So yeah, they
No.
simplified. Like they
100K is the
They
way.
can still say the worms.
One.
They're still able to say that the worms made the spice and everything.
Yeah.
But for this, they were like, those bombs we found, we're gonna blow up the spice. And everyone's like, cool, got it.
But how much explaining would he have to do? Would you be adding to this movie if you went to the
Well,
original
because they
reason?
show that, like, they showed how they, you drown the worm, it like pukes up the thing.
Yeah.
Well, they got to stick the thing in.
Yeah.
To
They-
suck
they-
out the
That- it was
juice.
so
They go into a whole
cool.
thing. I think
Like,
if
I
they
don't-
mixed like the water of life with the pre-spice, I forget the specifics, but like it'll just.
They make space
It's
crack.
basically they make like a chemical weapon that'll
Yeah.
like
Okay.
kill all of them.
real quick, just because my brain. With the imagery of what this Dune bucket has been, and how small that the baby worm, like
Yeah.
the worms are, it made me think of the Dune bucket and what that has been representing. And that's going in. That's where my brain went in the movie when I saw that, and I was like, ah.
Those
No.
Fremen are using it for something else
Yeah.
besides the water of life, if you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
because that's the only two ways.
Fremen,
at least
Fremen fleshlight. There you go.
Yeah. From what I remember in the novel, the only two ways to kill the worms are like to drown them in water. And then there's like a super. They mentioned the book. They're like, one was killed a long time ago. We had to shoot every single section with an electricity weapon at the same time.
What?
And that's why they just don't even fucking bother trying to kill the worms. Like it's too fucking hard to kill them.
So we ride
Let's
them.
Well, the Fremen ride them.
They ride them.
But all the
they
spice
suck-
miners-
There's a lot of things happening.
The
with
spice
these ones.
miners are like,
They're
we
the
just
sex
get these-
slaves of the planet.
They could be.
They're
The spice
Sorry,
miners are like,
yeah.
we just get balloons and we get the fuck out of there. It's too hard to kill them. Like we've killed literally one. That was a long shot.
They got a lot of knowledge, though,
Yeah.
about them. How did they get the baby ones? Sorry, maybe I'm asking.
Well,
too many
they're in the
questions.
pre-spice bowls that blow up and then
Oh,
they scatter. I
gotcha.
guess they find them from there. So yeah, they
is he?
simplified
Got
that.
one.
I do kind of like that Shawnee is not just a pushover, where they're
I do
like,
too.
you have to deal with his fake wife, even though you're his real girlfriend. Just deal with it.
Okay.
And she's like, okay.
But it plays so well who she's been this entire movie. 'Cause
Yeah.
she stays strong.
It's a change that I don't mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she stays who she is. She remains who she is, and with her belief system the entire time. She does not change what she
Also,
believes.
Paul doesn't seem that upset. And look, Zendaya is nice, but if Florence Pugh walked in the room, I'd be like, "Yeah, bye, Spider-Man lady.
Well,
That's great.
you
That's
got-
awesome."
Look, you got a point there. But what I was gonna say, he's never like, relax. This is just so we can get control of the thing.
Yeah.
It's
No.
never. He never says that. He's like, I'll love you forever. I don't know which
I
one.
think he did tell her that, but it's one thing to like get a heads up and then having to see it in person. You're
yeah,
like,
well, yeah, I guess so.
But he is.
But it's
at
nothing
this-
romantic about it.
Oh,
no, it really
no.
isn't.
He's like, I'm gonna take your daughter's hand and we're gonna fucking rule the galaxy or something.
Once he had the life water,
Yeah.
the worm piss. Once he had that, I mean, they call it the worm piss.
They do.
Once he has the worm piss inside him, he completely changes his mannerisms. He doesn't. His human or his like even what am I trying to say? His
Humanity.
not
Emotions?
human. I was thinking about it, just
Morals,
like his any type
Demeanor?
of empathy.
Yeah.
It's definitely his demeanor and
Yeah.
any type
Yeah.
of empathy he might have had or sympathy he had for anyone else just seems to have went away. And he has
Yeah.
one plan and he's going to go do it no matter what it takes.
I I do like that he's able to communicate with Jameis in an alternate timeline with their friends. He's like, Jameis, what should I do? And it's
Gotta
like,
drink
I'm
that
from
juice.
the timeline where I didn't want to murder you, and this is what you should do.
Drink that juice. I think Zendaya is more pissed off that he did the thing that he said he wasn't going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's more
Absolutely.
upset because she's
Yeah.
just like, you're just
She
going to be
feels
another
betrayed.
ruler. You're not really freeing us. You're
Yeah.
just using us.
Because what you should have did was kill everybody and the Emperor and then give the planet back
Yeah.
to the
Yes.
Fremen.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't
kin-
really do.
He
No,
kind of
he
did, but at the
uses
same
them. It's his
time,
army.
he's just
Yeah.
like, well, they're just going to conspire and come back and kill us. Another
Yeah.
house is going to try to take over.
Yeah.
Speaking of Shani, they made no mention that Dr. Kynes was her, well, in the previous one was her mom. Usually it's her father. But yeah, the lady that helps him and then gets
Oh,
eaten by the worm,
yeah,
they
yeah,
like
yeah.
didn't mention that that's her mom because that's like a big thing. Like they both just lost their parents, and
And
in
that's
this
how
one,
they,
Yeah.
that's
at
how
this
they
one,
bond.
I'm guessing
forgot
there
about
was a scene that was shot, or maybe they were like, let's just not say Shani's last name and we'll pretend they're not related.
They could have did it in the tent where he's like, I lost my father and my mother. You know, they
Oh,
killed them all.
yeah.
And she was never like, I mean, I guess she was empathizing with him, but she was never like, yeah, me too.
No.
I guess we didn't have to say that.
But that's also why she's pretty smart because her, depending on what version you're watching, her parent was part of like the empire, like the emperor's thing. She was like the imperial planetologist and whatnot.
The
So that's why
Senate.
Shani like knows a little bit more about the science stuff.
Hmm.
So that was weird. They just ignored that.
Like how the pumps and stuff work and like extracts water.
yeah.
and things.
Yeah.
Thing I didn't like. They made like no hints that Arrakis can be terraformed. Like that was kind of what Dr. Kynes was doing. She was learning ways to terraform the planet to bring water, but they didn't know because no one could see the south part of the planet, which is another issue I have.
Again, that's not what this movie's about.
I know,
You know what I mean?
By the way, that's
Exactly.
not even like what the
But-
first book is about. It's like a thing that's planned for later. That's part
Yeah.
of his vision where he sees
Yeah.
the water.
So-
But like, I wanted to see something where like, hey, they've made steps into like actually terraforming the
That
planet.
weather balloon worked and now it's raining. Muad'Dib!
Like Dr. Kynes
Yeah.
and like their parent were figuring out ways to bring water back to Arrakis.
Right.
So
and, yeah.
these are things that you wish you saw in this movie, but where
Yeah.
would you have put it? Because at that point you have so much more to explain.
That's what I mean. Like the focus.
It's-
I guess when
Yeah.
I would have had like when they went to the south, seeing like a greener part, like, oh shit, you guys are up to stuff down here.
But now when you're going like my complaint, not even really complaint about the sci-fi version. Like I truly do love that one.
The sci-fi
But
hints, they
it's-
don't dwell on it, but they, hint
don't,
that
but
is
they
a thing.
do hint
Yeah.
it. But there is so much
I know.
already happening. The sci-fi is very overwhelming with information. You can't go overwhelming information, especially with their
it just
audience.
felt like in this version, like instead of saving Arrakis, he's like, we're all gonna go to Caladan at some point. They got water everywhere. I'm like, oh okay, didn't know that was
I'll
happening.
save you people.
Yeah.
We'll just go there.
We're just gonna move.
We're just-
I think this movie truly does know who the audience is. I know a lot of people that do love the book are not exactly the happiest people. When we're walking out of the theater, we went separate ways.
Yeah.
There was like a group of I think 3 guys like comparing the entire movie to the book, which of course I was expecting that like somewhere in the parking lot, but it's. The sci-fi, I mean, obviously, David Lynch, it's a whole nother movie its
Yeah.
own time, is trying to do everything it could in one movie. The sci-fi is taking all these details and putting in, but the sci-fi knows its audience. The
Yeah.
sci-fi is going towards more of the people who
They're
do
trying to
love the
please the
books.
people who read
The
the
people that watch the sci-fi channel.
They're
People
explaining-
that watch the sci-fi channel is going to appreciate this. This is for a more general public
Yeah.
to where if
Yeah.
you overload them with information, and they aren't aware of
Yeah.
this and this world
I'm just
already.
saying, I'm
it's
not
gonna
saying
go
they
over
had to
their head.
dwell on it, like maybe in a vision to show like other
But
than
then
that
it's
one.
going to be more confusing.
That's why I appreciate the Lynches because it kind of does both.
Yeah.
It does.
And the sci-fi one is heavy on the semantics of the political stuff happening between everybody.
Yeah.
I wish they would have done the time jump, but I guess they didn't want Arya to be born, so they didn't do the few
I don't know
year
why they
time
didn't
jump.
do that.
I don't know
It
why.
would've made
I-
sense,
It's-
right?
I think
feel like
I
it's setting
read-
it up.
Denny apparently he like wanted to have. He thought it'd just be interesting to have like a pregnant character as part of the story who's like communicating with the baby.
I mean, that's a great.
it's a
great
cool
It's
idea,
cool.
but
Yeah.
like I want to see that creepy girl kill the Baron. I love when she kills the because we never
Baron.
see anyone
Yeah.
die with the Gum Jabbar
Yeah.
until she kills the Baron
Yeah,
with
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And maybe they could have did a thing like Lynch where he's like, I'm fat and flying into a worm's mouth.
I was hoping for that.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, okay.
Instead, she's not born. However, if they did do the time jump, they would have had to decide if they want to do the thing where Paul and Shani have a baby who gets killed, and I'm kind of fine that they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because that would be like, oh man, and now our baby's dead, and we're extra angry. I'm more angry about my dad
Man,
than I was about my dad.
That adds insult to injury with the
my
whole
gosh.
Florence Pugh thing.
Oh my god, yeah. So if the sister isn't being born, does that mess up for going into the third movie based on the books? Because if she's already a certain age at the end in this book, I don't know how the rest of the book continues.
I didn't read I only read the first one.
So I'm
So it
curious
could be
if there's,
possible that
like,
they do a time jump and it figures
But then
itself
it's
out.
not continuing right where it ended, like the first one. Then if there's a
Well,
time
then they
jump,
might
unless
not
it's
do
like a
that.
little bit
Maybe
later.
they'll jump ahead. I don't know.
Maybe they'll go right
just,
to the
like,
worm
curious.
kid. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe the third one will open up with the giant worm person.
Then it just goes into like, wait, which in the trilogies of movies, when does it go to outer space? Because I'm expecting worms in outer space at some point.
I don't know if the worms get to outer
I don't
space.
care. But
We
if
will
we're going
see.
in movie like sequels and trilogies and stuff,
Yeah.
I'm expecting worms in outer space.
Speaking of, I'm looking at my other.
Now that you mention it, there's like no space travel in this movie at all.
Well-
we go to different planets, but we never see it happen.
This is my
Yeah.
biggest complaint. We
Oh,
technically
look at
do
that.
see it happen.
we do?
It's just very subtle. So,
I mean, you see him enter the atmosphere and shit.
Well, we
but-
see like in that first one, there's that big ship, and if you look, there's like a different planet. It's because it's like a circle.
Yeah.
So basically, they're like warping through time. So
Right.
their ships move
Via spice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Right?
the spice. So how
it
it
is by-
works,
via
and this
spice,
is my
yeah.
biggest issue:
The folding
The
of space.
Spacing Guild is just not in the movie.
Yeah, that too. And
They're
I'm like, wait
kind
a
of
second.
like-
Yes.
They're kind of the ones that are really pulling the strings.
Yeah, they're in control.
So the fact
Yeah.
that they were just left out in the second part, I'm like, no, they're kind of
They
the
are.
reason for everything.
You gotta wait till that third movie, Tony. Then they're gonna
I
come
know.
in and be like, wait a minute.
So how it works, and I'm not saying they had to show, because they show guild members in the first one. They mention navigators.
Yeah.
The book never showed navigators. The book said they might be mutated, and then David Lynch was like, well, we gotta show that.
and that's one of my favorite parts of the
Yes.
Lynch
I know.
stuff.
It is.
And then the sci-fi series
It's
couldn't
so
help
massive.
themselves either.
Yes.
They're like, well, we also got to do it. It's like, yeah, but that's not in the
But
mentioned.
it's
Like,
cool.
we gotta do
Better.
it.
Exactly.
This is the only one that showed restraint.
But they're super interesting, like characters,
Yeah.
though,
They are.
and like
So the
how it
whole-
all works.
But like the
you
whole
kind of
thing
need
is
them.
like, so the
I agree.
Spacing Guild is a monopoly.
Yeah.
They pull the strings and everything.
Yes.
So they want the spice from the Emperor because so what it is, they have engines that can go through time.
Yeah.
But since you're not allowed to have supercomputers or AI in Dune, the navigators just take so much spice that they predict the routes that you have to go through light speed. It's like Han Solo's computer in the Millennium Falcon, but if a person was doing it, so
right.
they don't.
Well, a
end up-
mutant. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If a mutant was doing it, so they don't like warp
Yeah.
through a star or something
Oh,
like
sure,
that.
sure.
So that's why they want so much spice. That's why there are, because it was like no one can travel without the guild members. That's kind of why there's like spaceships don't have weapons.
Right.
Because the spaceships, the navigators are like, well, we're on the fucking space. We don't want to blow up. You're not allowed to have weapons. You can't travel unless you get rid of the weapons.
Well, so theoretically, they could have just shot all those house ships down from orbit
yeah.
at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
because they
take
don't
all
have
your
guns.
Weapons. Yeah. Take all
Well,
your
that's
weapons
it.
you
Okay.
just had and get them all in
So
one shot.
let me finish because there
Okay.
was one
Sorry,
other
sorry,
thing.
sorry.
So let me finish
Go
the
ahead.
Spacing Guild. So the whole reason that the south part is uninhabitable, like the Spacing Guild has rigged it. They don't allow satellites around Arrakis.
Yeah.
Because they are running this. They're
Yeah.
letting the smugglers there so they can get more spice and not
Yeah.
have to share it with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
yeah.
So they're the ones doing it. They're purposely keeping a blind eye. But in this movie, Christopher Walken's like, did you ever check the South? They're like, no, we heard you couldn't go down there. It's like, and you didn't bother to check it out? I'm like, that does sound pretty stupid. It makes more sense where there's like a conspiracy to keep them out of the South.
Well, because there's a storm blocking
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing, like, they all get in their ships to go fight the other houses. It's like, yeah, but you can't do long distance travel because the guild navigators can be like, no, we're not doing it. That's why he wants to destroy the spice. It's the way to get the guild to be like, hey, you guys are addicted to this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You control all space travel. I now control you. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how, I think that's how he gets all the other houses in line.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, because he kind of takes over the guild.
Yeah.
Basically, you kind of have to. They run everything.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a big thing to leave out. Of all the things they left out, I'm like, come on.
Again, maybe that's what's gonna happen for 3.
Maybe. But what did I want to circle back to? Oh, So we got to see more laser guns in this.
Yeah, which were really cool.
Yeah, because we only got to see one in the last film when Jason Momoa was flying away ones after him. So
I forgot Jason Momoa was in that.
I know.
Yeah.
As soon as you said that,
Duncan,
I was like,
Idaho.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's right, Duncan, Idaho.
So the reason they don't use laser guns too much is because if you hit a shield with a laser gun, it causes a nuclear explosion.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's why they're never. So no one's allowed to use shields in the desert because it'll attract the worms. So that's why they're using the laser guns on the spice mine.
How does the shields attract the worms?
They vibrate.
Something about the vibration.
Okay, that
they
makes more
mentioned.
sense. Okay,
the doctor
that makes
mentions
sense
it
to
in
me.
the first film.
Okay.
Yeah, or in
Got
the.
it, got
That's
it.
why,
first film.
like, you
That makes
gotta
sense.
go slow with the knife to penetrate it.
Yeah. So that's why they're using so many knives because they're like.
Ask the bucket.
Yeah. So apparently, like laser guns were like a thing that everyone used, and then someone's like, "I got this shield. Oh, what happens if we shoot it? It's like a nuclear explosion." So that's why this was a letdown. I wanted to see the consequences of that because early on, when the Sardaukar, like the first fight scene. They're getting hit with the laser guns, and the one guy goes shields, and one guy goes, no shields! Because we're all gonna fucking die if you turn the shields on. I'm like, I wanted just to see one example of what that looked like. I was really upset.
Yeah.
He would have been over.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Like, the Emperor has his shield on his ship. I'm like, at any point, they could just hit that.
That would have
thing
been
and kill, like,
great.
everyone. So yeah, I kind of wanted to. I hope they do that in a later movie. I really want to see the consequences of a laser gun on a shield.
That would be fun.
Or like kick a dude into the worm's mouth,
Yeah,
shield on,
that'd
and
be
then
cool.
shoot him, and then it blows up or something.
I like that they got the magnetic mines on the spice thing.
That was so cool.
That
and they were
was
like
cool.
flying out of the sand.
Yeah, that was
that
awesome.
was fun.
But overall, I think it was a great movie. It was a great time.
It was fun.
Like being a fan of the source material, I'm a little let down by things, mostly the Spacing Guild, because the sci-fi series ended with that guy who went to kill.
yeah.
The guild does not take your orders.
Remember that scene where they walk in, he's just on one leg for no reason? I
Yeah.
wanted that fucking guy.
The guild is so weird.
By the way, I love
it.
if you rewatch the first film, they're not the navigators, they're just guild members. When he goes, and some members of the Spacing Guilds, they have helmets, and their helmets are just full of spice, like they're drenched in it.
Yeah.
You can kind of see a human's face in the bowl, but they're just like, we just drown ourselves in this shit. We're so addicted to it.
Spice heads.
Yeah.
Ew.
But yeah, I'm happy that there is this big budget movie that's a little riskier than a lot of sci-fi. It's got a lot of big ideas. It does a lot of weird things that you wouldn't normally do.
It doesn't go full on that, but there's some great set pieces in this one.
Yeah, memorable set
yeah.
pieces, interesting characters.
Yeah.
Not all great. They're not black and white. Really, like good guys, bad guys.
No.
There's
Some of them are
moral-
literally black and white, but it's okay.
Some of them are literally black and white. But there's a moral gray area in a way that's
There
not
is.
annoying like the new Star Wars movies
Yes.
were.
And not kind of predictable or even presented in the other iterations of this. So that's what makes
Yeah.
this one unique.
And
Aside from the special effects.
yeah, and I'm like actually really happy that people are giving it a chance. Like my friend Lauren, who was on the Human Centipede episode, she didn't even see the first one right away. And she was so intrigued by the second one and I noticed other people, they're like, all right, well, I'll watch the first one. I'll
You
go
have
see
to
this
watch the
new
first
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it actually, for some reason, this movie got people really interested. They're like, well, let me go. It helps that like all these young heartthrobs are in it.
I think that's what did it. But
I
they're
think
all
it was the
good
bucket.
Yeah.
in it. You know?
I think it was the bucket.
And the
It was
bucket.
the
was the
bucket, yeah.
bucket.
I think a lot of the marketing and viral stuff for Dune.
Yeah.
I think that actually
Was-
really
I think
attributed
it was
to
an
the bucket.
accident. I think they just got lucky
There's-
with it. I don't think they expected it to work that well. But yeah, does it do the book justice? I think for the most part it does.
I mean, if you were to do the book pure justice, it would be such a longer movie.
It's a
I
TV
know.
series.
I know.
TV series is the
Literally.
book justice, if that's
Yeah.
what you want.
Yes.
But
Again,
it's not as,
Even that has changes, but
sure,
But,
but
the sci-fi, the TV movies, it feels long.
Yeah.
I mean, it is long.
and
It's
even-
like 8
honestly-
hours.
honestly-
This didn't feel long at all, at least to me.
Yeah.
No.
I was on this journey.
Engaged the whole time.
The
Yeah, no,
entire
both
time,
these
and I'm
movies
very
are
ADHD.
long, but they feel like they
They're
flow
paced
pretty
well.
fast. Because
Yeah.
again,
So
I
fast.
know what's going on. Even when it's a little weird and confusing, I'm still interested.
Yeah.
Visually, it looks great.
Oh my gosh.
100%.
Dude, there are lines in the book about how some of the ships look like bugs, and these movies went all in on that.
They're
Every
like
ship looked-
dragonflies. They're really cool.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
ornithopters look like dragons. The spice binders kind of look like ticks.
Yeah,
They
or like
look-
spiders or something.
Yeah. They took that one line. They're like, oh, this is everything. everything.
Cool though.
It's so cool.
The costumes are really great.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Denny's great with those like wide angles and whatnot.
Wasn't it shot anything outside was shot in IMAX and then all the interior was shot in
I could see that.
7
Yeah.
mil?
right? Yeah.
I mean, we saw it in
I don't know.
IMAX
Or
meeting.
not, yeah.
I don't know if they do the whole like aspect ratio changing
No,
anymore.
they didn't. It ended the inside from.
They probably just blow the 35
That's what they
millimeter
did.
up to
Yeah.
IMAX.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
They took the inside.
'Cause that was like when you
Was it
watch,
shot
like-
on film?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I remember back when like Nolan and whatnot was doing that.
I know
for-
that Nolan shoots on film still.
Yeah, but like before, like when it was IMAX, like you would see the screen would go bigger
Yes.
to
Yeah.
let you know it's an IMAX scene. I think now they just blow up the 35 to match it.
To match it, yeah. Could be.
But yeah, I'd say check it out. Do a double feature if you can when it comes out on video.
Watch it as a whole. I think that's probably the best experience that you're going to have with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But again, each of the iterations offers something a little different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Really
And
does.
I think this is a welcome addition, and it's really good.
Yeah.
And Tony said it all. It's
I'm-
shot really well, and
Yeah.
it's a different it's a different flavor of the story.
Yeah.
Which is good.
It feels like
Yeah.
a good old fashioned fun blockbuster
Yeah.
movie, but a little bit smarter than the usual kind.
100%.
Yeah, I liked the first one a lot, but
Doesn't
I think
treat you like an idiot.
Yeah, it
No,
doesn't
not at
treat you like
all.
it,
Yeah.
it like wants you to think a little bit, not too much, but as,
Yeah.
as-
it knows its audience.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what I was saying earlier. But I think the first one was great, but the second one was, if I'm comparing the two, like it just brought so much more to the table. Because like I said, the first one's really just setting up that lore.
Yeah.
Going from watching David Lynch to the sci-fi to the first one, I'm like, okay, first one was good, you know.
Yeah.
But after now, if I'm to compare all the different worlds, I love this one.
Yeah.
I really do. But I mean, they all. I mean, I have different love for each one.
Yeah, each one brings its own thing to the
Yeah.
table. The only thing that maybe I would have liked to see with these two new movies is if they put that time jump right in the middle. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If they had a little bit of Jessica and Paul like interacting with the Fremen and like getting a little bit farther and taking the water of life, at least for Jessica, and then stopped it there.
Yeah.
And then the jump and then part two, I think.
I wouldn't have hated that.
I think it
'Cause
would have
I-
separated a little bit more and we
Yeah.
could have
I
got
just-
more of other stuff.
I just wish you could have saw Arya being all creepy and weird. That's my
Yeah.
favorite part of the other ones. They're like, we don't like that girl.
And she's got
fucking
that
weird.
creepy voice.
She's the one like on the battlefield. They only show up for a second in
Yeah.
Lynch's Dune, but I would have been cool to see just a little kid just stabbing
it's
Sarkar on the
great.
battlefield. Like,
It's still a
laughing.
creepy fetus, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The fetus is a little creepy.
But yeah, that's it. I think does the book justice. Whatever changes, even the changes I complained about, other than Space and Guild, I'll probably like be okay with on
Yeah.
rewatches. But yeah, let us know what you think. Did you like Dune Part 2? Did it make you appreciate Part 1 more?
Is this your favorite Dune?
Is this now
What
the
is
best
your
Dune
favorite Dune?
movie?
Yes.
Whoa!
I had to
bring
retitle
back.
that last episode so far.
Yeah, exactly. Who's ready for 3?
Well, he does want to do a third one based off Dune Messiah. If they end up doing Dune Messiah and Children of Dune, we will do what is the best Dune sequel because the TV series got a sequel.
Oh yeah,
James
that's right.
McAvoy is
Yeah.
actually one of his first starring roles.
That's right.
But they combined Dune Messiah and Children of Dune into one story.
You think that's what they're going to do for the third one?
I don't know.
How long is that? Is it like another?
I don't
couple
know.
Movies?
I don't know. I didn't watch it. Susan Sarandon's in it of all people.
I love Susan Sarandon.
Yeah, she's in it.
Save it. We got material.
We'll see it. We'll save it. We'll save it.
Jesus, how much more material? Because when we went through that whole "What's your favorite Dune," I was duned out. Going into this, I was like, at the end of the movie, I was like, "What the fuck happened?"
Well,
to this
well,
other
well,
movies?
But now you're more learned.
Okay, so if they
Right?
do
as
them-
of right now,
Yeah.
So if they end up doing Dune Messiah and Children of Dune as 2 movies, we would have to wait until Dune Messiah or Children of Dune comes out,
Okay.
and then we'll watch the made-for-TV one. So that'd be 3 movies again. It'll be 3 movies again.
I
but
don't
we
know
would
how
have a
long they
long
are.
time to watch. It's going to take a long time for them
Yeah,
to watch.
yeah.
make
But you
those
know, I'm
movies.
going to end up having to watch all of it at once.
We're going to be
That's how I'm gonna
70
be.
and be like, "Here's the problem."
Well, with Dune, that whole thing they did with the children and the, I don't know, worm guy.
Imagine if they did all the books.
I can't wait until we're 80 and they finally get to the Worm Man, and I'll be like, "They made it a lady."
Oh God, if you were still doing that when
I
you're
waited
80,
so many years to see Worm Man, and they made it Worm Lady.
Tony, it's not going to happen in 5 years. What are you talking about?
The bit keeps going till you're 80. That's a sad thing.
It just changes every time. I can't really figure out how old he
Can't wait
is.
to be in it, like, because people live longer and longer. You can't wait to be like 90, and you're going to be like, oh, Tony, what are you? 105? Like, no, I'm not 105 yet.
What are you, 300?
Change my colonoscopy bag, please.
Oh my God, the colostomy.
No.
It's full of the water of the life. Tony piss. It'll let you see the
worse.
future.
Okay.
I'm figuring that bucket. Like the imageries I have right now are nightmare.
Where do you think that worm child's coming from? Tony in the bucket.
Okay, people. We got to shoot a mailbag, so we got to end this episode. Thank you all for watching. We'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.